Eh, eh. Wait. My chat. Ayan. Ganyan na lang. Tsaka ibaba ko sarili ko. I'll make myself a little smaller. Think, think. Ayan. Mga ganyan. Ayan. Okay. Time to work. Without further ado, we work.
Yaoi. If you're a male fan of
Yowie!
anime and manga, or even just a casual observer, you've surely at some point felt a bit puzzled by the immense popularity of stories depicting homosexual relationships between men. Usually
Let's
men
go,
that look like
Yowie!
girls that are largely targeted towards young women. After all, it's not immediately obvious what the appeal of romance, and in many cases explicit and graphic activities between two
Uh,
boys is for girls. In an effort to answer that question, I want to do a deep dive into yaoi. I intend to demystify, explain, and deconstruct yaoi for what I assume will be a largely heterosexual male audience, beginning with a discussion of the history and origins of yaoi, and then moving to deconstruct and analyze different perspectives on why yaoi manga appeals so strongly to women in particular. Far before the advent of yaoi, Japan has had a robust history of literature, art, and theater depicting homoeroticism that dates back centuries. Same-sex relations were, at one point, a kind of venerated cultural institution known as nanshoku or shudo. However, during the late 19th and early 20th centuries, attitudes towards homosexuality began to sour as a consequence of the modernization and westernization wrought on by the Meiji Restoration. Inspired by Western sexologists, Meiji-era scholars began to pathologize and stigmatize homosexual relations. That's not to say that no traces of homosexuality in Japanese art and literature survived the Meiji era. For our purposes, the most consequential was the writer Inagaki Taruho, whose works focused on the beautiful boy, or bishonen. Unlike previous writers,
Bishonen!
Inagaki's work and characters tended to be less stereotypically masculine. In his book, Writing the Love of Boys, Jeffrey Angles describes Inagaki's characters as, quote, gentle, sensitive figures filled with longing, not unlike the beautiful boy characters that are popular in yaoi. He describes how Inagaki's work was able to appeal to women and laid the groundwork for the kinds of shoujo manga and yaoi that would precede him decades later. While works depicting male homosexuality have a significant and storied history within Japanese culture, the development of such works written by and for women is a much more recent occurrence. The origins of yaoi are typically traced to the 1961 novella Koibito Tachi no Mori, or The Lover's Forest, by Mori Mari. The story depicts a tragic and doomed love affair between a beautiful 19-year-old and an aristocratic, handsome, biracial 30-something-year-old man. Before I continue with the development of yaoi, or stories depicting homosexual relationships between men more generally, this is a good moment to have a quick aside about terminology, namely between shonen ai, boys love, and yaoi. Much of the English language work, particularly those from the early 2000s, tend to use yaoi as a blanket term for Japanese stories focused on male-on-male relationships. Japanese authors seem to more commonly use BL, short for boys love, as a blanket term meaning the same thing. While there's no formal or clear distinction between these terms, this is my understanding of the nuances and differences between yaoi, BL, and shonen ai. Yaoi is actually an ironic, self-deprecating abbreviation of gawanashi, ochinashi, iminashi, translating to roughly no climax, no punchline, and no meaning respectively in English. The term
No
originated from a
meaning.
doujinshi group in the late 1970s. Yaoi works are typically derivative in nature, borrowing characters from existing manga, anime, or video games, and placing their characters in homoerotic situations and relationships with each other, usually in a sexually explicit manner. Interestingly, the term has seemingly become a much more popular moniker in the West, with yaoi generally not being used in Japan to describe male-on-male fiction. The term boys love, or its more popular acronym BL, came about during the 1990s during a quote-unquote gay boom, when media
The gay
depicting
boom!
homosexuality became in vogue, particularly in works targeted towards women. BL generally refers to original, commercially published works. In the Japanese context, BL seems to operate as more of a blanket term,
The
encapsulating a
gay
wide
boom.
range of works,
I
both
didn't know that
explicit and
exists.
not, dealing with male-on-male relationships. While Japanese audiences are aware of the term and the history of yaoi, it has largely fallen out of use. In the West, BL and yaoi are used more interchangeably, something that I'll be doing throughout. Finally, shonen ai, literally the love of the young boy, is a term that was originally meant to refer to certain kinds of shoujo manga that emerged during the 1970s, though some in the Western context use the term to refer to stories focused more on romance, in contrast to yaoi, which is more associated with explicit activities. The term was originally meant to refer to a set of manga that revolve around a shonen, or more accurately a bishonen, or beautiful boy, and his struggles with ai, or love. Technically, certain works understood to be shonen ai aren't even, strictly speaking, male on male, which I'll discuss later. Shonen ai and manga depicting homosocial and homosexual relations came to prominence during a broader transformation of shoujo manga during the 1970s. Prior to the 1970s, most shoujo manga was created and published by men. Shoujo stories were typically less serious, nuanced, and generally seen as being meant for children. This changed with the advent of works by the Year 24 group, a group of highly influential female shoujo manga artists. So called because they were ostensibly born around the year 24 of the Showa Emperor, or 1949 in the Gregorian calendar. The works of the Year 24 group marked a revolution in shoujo manga, where the stories began to take on a much more serious approach to storytelling and themes, dealing with issues like gender, sexuality, and politics. This is best exemplified by the seminal 1972 manga Barusai no Bara, or The Rose of Versailles by Ikeda Ryoko. Significantly for our purposes, The Rose of Versailles would go on to popularize manga with male-on-male relationships. The next part contains spoilers for The Rose of Versailles, so I guess skip this if you don't want to have a 50-year-old manga series spoiled for you.
Busy
The
with
Rose of
stuff, so I
Versailles
won't be
is
talking.
ostensibly a historical drama retelling the story of French Queen Marie Antoinette in the lead-up and course of the French Revolution. However, Antoinette's role in the manga is quickly eclipsed by that of Oscar Francois de Jarges, a cross-dressed woman who serves as the captain of the royal guard. Despite presenting as male, Oscar never hides her status as a woman, and her sex is an open secret among the characters. The Rose of Versailles was revolutionary at the time for being one of the first shoujo manga to depict a heterosexual romance between equals. Traditionally, romance in shoujo manga tended to revolve around a girl who was depicted as average, unattractive, and unpopular, who is able to find happiness by becoming wholly committed to a relationship with an impossibly beautiful boy who loves her despite her flaws and imperfections. This is the kind of classic Cinderella or Prince Charming story that were dominant in shoujo manga at the time and still recur to this day. What distinguishes The Rose of Versailles from its predecessors is the radically different approach the story takes to romance. Oscar is first paired with the character Rosalie, a kind of stereotypical good girl who admires Oscar's heroism and bravery. That relationship didn't pan out in part because Rosalie was unpopular with readers, despite the fact that Ikeda wrote Rosalie ostensibly to be a self-insert for the reader. Oscar's first foray into heterosexual romance comes of Marie Antoinette's lover,
Zoe.
Hans Axel von Fersen.
Good
Afraid that
afternoon.
Fersen only sees her as a comrade and a
I am
man,
drawing
Oscar
though.
wears a dress for the first and only time in her life, only to be unsuccessful in convincing Fersen
I'm
to see her
drawing
as a
the
woman.
emotes.
Oscar is then arranged into a marriage with the Comte de Giordel.
But
While
I don't
Fersen
know how
only sees
to
Oscar as a man,
na
Giordel only sees
ipapakita yung
Oscar as a
iPad ko
woman.
sa
Displeased,
laptop.
Oscar goes on to
Or
engage in stereotypically masculine
makikita
behavior,
nyo sa,
like wearing her
sa
military
stream ko, but I
uniform
can't.
and dancing
I don't
with
know how to
women
do
in
it.
an attempt to spite Giordel.
Tinulungan ako ng
Oscar's
isang
failures
streamer
in romance
before.
with Fersen, who
Kaso,
only sees her as a man,
ang
and
kailangan
Giordel,
kasi ng
who only
iPad
sees
ko
her as
is
a
palagi
woman, is
naka-charge.
indicative of how she falls
So,
into
nung
neither a clearly masculine
nasa
nor feminine role.
stream o
After
nasa
a
stream
failed
na yung
romantic
iPad
forays,
ko, hindi siya
Oscar
nag-charge.
realizes what the reader has been
Tsaka
aware of
after
for quite
5
a
minutes
while,
ay naglobat.
namely that her true love interest
About
is
the work.
Andre
Good luck sa
Grandier.
work,
Andre
Zoe.
originally appears as a
Sana,
servant for House Jar Jays, and Oscar
hindi
thinks
hectic
little of
ang
him
work
until
mo
he loses his
tonight.
eye in the line of duty. What's interesting is that as
Ako,
Andre and
ano lang
Oscar's
naman, gagawa lang
relationship
emotes.
progresses, they increasingly begin
Maybe
to
I'll
resemble
do
each other in a physical
drafts
appearance,
first.
adopting similar
And then
hairstyles and
afterwards,
clothing.
kapag natapos
While
ko na sila
Oscar is a
lahat,
woman with
I
decidedly
play
masculine tendencies
a
and traits,
playlist.
Andre is a man whose masculine identity is compromised. He is of a
Ngay.
lower social
I
class to
tried,
Oscar and spends much
palagi
of
ko
the
na
story in a
try yun, like,
subordinate role to her. While
every
Oscar
time.
concerns herself with
I tried it
masculine
so many
pursuits of
times
politics and her
already.
conflicting
Ay,
personal
ano na
friendship
lang,
to
tawagan?
Antoinette and increasing awareness of the corrupt nature of the ancien
I just gave
regime,
up.
Andre deals with the
Hello,
stereotypically feminine
Wonderby.
issue of
How are
unrequited
you?
love, serving as a point of identification for
Ako
the female
ay
readership.
nagda-drawing
It's
lang.
not until he loses
Nagda-drawing.
one eye and gradually loses sight in the other
I'll
that
be
Oscar
quiet
begins to see him as
while
a romantic
drawing
interest.
kasi.
Oscar's
That's why I put
disability is
a
symbolic of his loss
YouTube
of
video
masculinity, reinforcing his
drawing.
subordinate position to Oscar, who goes on to fully embrace a romantic relationship with
I'm
Andre
drawing.
only after he becomes fully blind. Oscar and Andre's relationship is,
Wabida
strictly
lang po.
speaking,
Okay.
heterosexual,
Noted.
but is
And thank
distinctly
you for the
portrayed in the
follow.
narrative as homosocial
Hi
in
Hachimi, I
nature,
can't stay,
both
but
in
I
their
hope you're
physical
fine. Have a
resemblance
great
to each
day and
other,
a
but
good
also
stream.
symbolically in their
Hello,
positions as a masculine
Ayan,
woman
thank
and an
you.
emasculated man.
I will
The
show
Rose of
what
Versailles
my
is,
progress
in
is
essence, a
later.
kind of shonen ai,
But
despite
I
the
am
fact that the
drafting
romance
lang.
is
I'm
technically
drafting the
between a
emotes
man
and then
and a woman.
afterwards, yun, I can play
The Rose of
later.
Versailles was tremendously popular with
Randomly
young
lang po
Japanese women,
ikaw
so
nag-pop up sa
popular in
Twitter
fact
time like,
that
oh
when
really?
Oscar died,
The,
Japanese school teachers were reportedly forced to
the
cancel
Twitter
class as the
algorithm
female students
works.
were simply too distraught.
I'm
There was this
trying kasi
immense
to
popularity that would kick off
maybe
interest in
post
more works featuring
every day
explicitly
kasi ganun ang
homosexual
Twitter
themes,
eh.
such as
If you
Hagiomoto's
post like every
1974
every
work
day,
Toma no
every
Shinzo,
single
or The
day,
Heart of Thomas,
may
or
ano
Takamiya
tawagan,
Keiko's
mas
1976 work
lalong
Kaze
like
Toki no Uta, or
I
The
don't
Song
know.
of the Wind and the Trees.
I don't know anymore.
These early
Basta
yaoi
yes.
works, sometimes referred to as
The more
shonen
you
ai,
interact
share
with it
several
with your account,
characteristics that
like
distinguish
posting,
themselves from modern
retweeting, or
yaoi or
liking,
BL stories. Most
tsaka
of the
kapag
works from
mag-post
this
ka,
era
mas
follow
madaming
specific
taong
genre
makikita
conventions that
ng
were
tweet mo.
pioneered
Yes,
by
yes, yes.
Koibito Tachi
Yeah.
no Mori. Namely,
I
these
start
works
now.
generally feature three
I am
things:
starting the
affluent,
peeking emote.
typically European settings and
I
characters,
shall put
beautiful protagonists that are popular with women but nonetheless choose to engage in romance with
I
other
put
men, and finally, these stories
Okay.
typically end in the main character's impossible or perfect love tragically
Whoa.
ending with one or both of their
Okay.
deaths. While these stories are ostensibly about
Speaking
homosexual male relationships, these relationships
emotes
are
to
generally
ano,
not the primary
emotes to
focus,
do.
but rather a part of a broader story exploring the
Speaking
protagonist's search for love, acceptance, and
Great.
identity. Many of these works contain sexual themes and allusions to
Hi.
sexual activity, but they generally do
Bye.
not portray explicit depictions of sex. Instead, works like The
Ano
Rose
pa
of
ba?
Versailles feature what are sometimes euphemistically called bed scenes that imply sexual
Bed
activities between the
scenes.
characters. Over time, these works began to become more adventurous in their depictions of sexual activity, with works like Kaze Toki no Uta becoming controversial over their more direct illustrations. In 1975,
Hey.
around the same time that works by the year 24 shoujo mangaka were rapidly rising in
Emotes
popularity, the
to
very
draft
first comic market,
tonight.
better known as komiketo, komike, or
Sign
komiket
hi.
in English, was held. Advances in copying technology, paired with
And
ballooning
bye.
interest in manga, had encouraged people to create and
I put
publish
the
their own
cry.
doujinshi. While the term is often associated with pornographic material in the Western context, doujinshi is a general term meant to refer to self-published
Blanket.
works, often but not limited to manga, fan
Celebrate.
magazines, or novels. While anime and manga fans are
Dead.
generally thought of to be overwhelmingly men, the
And
early
lurk.
participants and
Yung lurk ko,
attendants
it's like
of
peeking na
Komiket
din
were
kasi.
almost all young women.
Peeking.
By one estimate, 90% of the original 700 Komiket attendees were female. To this day, Komiket remains an event dominated by women, both among the attendees and vendors.
Male
In the early years
domination.
of Komiket, participants were generally young women who were fans of year 24 shoujo mangaka and focused on producing original works. While I focused on the role of the year 24 group in pioneering the depictions of male homosexual relations in their work, many of them wrote and were more popular for traditional shoujo style stories. By the late 1970s, we start to see doujinshi circles create
Pati
works
nasa
with
baba.
overtly homosexual narratives. One early subject of these homosexual doujinshi were British rock stars like David Bowie, Led Zeppelin, or Queen. This is also when we start to see the focus of doujinshi shift from original works to aniparo, or animation parody. As the name implies, these works focus on placing existing anime characters into novel situations or relationships. These aniparo became predominantly sexual in nature, hence the original coining of yaoi as a contraction for yamanashi, ochinashi, iminashi to describe works without a climax, punchline, or meaning. Interestingly, the term yaoi originally had nothing to do with male-on-male romance in particular. The term apparently originated with members of the ravuri, lovely, doujinshi circle as a description for doujinshi in general. In December
Pause your check and hide
1979,
it.
the members of Lovely would eventually
thank
go
you
on to
for the
publish a
review,
compilation of doujinshi focused on male homoerotic narratives, titled Rappori Special Yaoi Issue, which seems to have effectively narrowed the meaning of yaoi to works depicting homoerotic male relationships. While yaoi has become the term most vividly associated with anime and manga depicting homosexual relationships, the term would take several years to take off as the dominant term for describing male-on-male romance, competing with terms like shonen ai, tanbi, or June, referencing the June magazine, which was the first commercially published work focused on male homosexuality. During the 1970s and early 1980s, Shonen Ai published by professional shoujo mangaka started to slowly fade away. June, originally Comic Jun, served as something as a bridge between commercial yaoi, principally coming from professional shoujo artists, to increasingly being spearheaded by amateur, fan-driven works. For our purposes, June had two major ramifications for yaoi. First, June expanded the aesthetic and narrative sensibilities of yaoi beyond what had been pioneered by the Year 24 shoujo mangaka. Second, June also expanded the scope of participation for professional and up-and-coming mangaka to everyday fans. June featured ads for amateur published doujinshi and doujinshi circles looking to recruit members. The magazine also featured an editorial policy permitting unsolicited manuscript submissions, which encouraged women to produce and share works amongst themselves. By the early to mid 1980s, yaoi aniparo started to rapidly take off in popularity, largely eclipsing original narratives as the primary site of male homoerotic stories. The football manga Captain Tsubasa, published from 1981 to 1988 in the famous Shonen Jump, became the first manga to reach mass popularity among yaoi doujinshi circles, with parodies of Captain Tsubasa dominating the halls of Komiket for several years during the early to mid 1980s. In the subsequent years, other Shonen Jump manga like Saint Seiya, Slam Dunk, Prince of Tennis, Naruto, and One Piece would all go on to prove quite popular subjects in homoerotic aniparo. The rise of yaoi aniparo in Japan parallels quite well the development of slash fiction in the English-speaking world. Starting in the 1970s, Western writers, almost exclusively women, started writing homoerotic fanfiction pairing Kirk and Spock from Star Trek. The major difference between Japanese enjoyment of yaoi and Western slash fiction is scale. Until fairly recently, slash fiction, or works explicitly focused on homosexual relations, have remained contained to fairly niche fan communities in the West. You would never, for instance, see entire bookstores dedicated to selling homoerotic fiction, or entire aisles of Barnes & Nobles dedicated to such stories either. The rise of yaoi aniparo in the 1980s kicked off an exponential boom of interest in homoerotic material. By one estimate, commercial boys' love and yaoi manga had a core readership of roughly 500,000. A decade later, that figure would double to over 1 million. During the 1990s, a large number of BL periodicals started to crop up. By the mid-90s, something like 30 different BL magazines had come into existence. Bookstores had also begun setting aside dedicated space for BL fiction. The most vivid evidence of yaoi's rise to prominence could be seen in the transformation of the area around Ikebukuro Station into what's now known as Otome Road, an area littered with shops and stores catering to yaoi fans. The emergence and widespread adoption of the internet throughout the 90s and early 2000s helped to fuel further interest in yaoi. One of the most prominent examples of this is with Axis Power Satalia. Originally published as a webcomic in 2003, the series would rapidly balloon in popularity, earning over 20 million hits in just a few short years, and would go on to become one of the most popular manga series of the late 2000s and early 2010s, buoyed in large part by the story's large popularity with yaoi fans. As an extremely scientific marker of popularity, Hetalia has 118,000 stories on fanfiction.net, behind only Inuyasha and Naruto. By the 2000s, there was an increasing popular awareness of how widespread BL fandom and readership was becoming amongst young women, particularly in works depicting anime and manga subculture. We started to see depictions of yaoi fangirls. One of the earliest and most prominent examples of this was the 2006 webcomic Tonari no Yaoi-chan, which depicts a romantic relationship between a male otaku and a yaoi fangirl who quite literally transforms into a green monster whenever she sees beautiful boys. Yaoi fangirls are also depicted in works like Genshiken and Lucky Star, which are explicitly targeted towards otaku and focus on discussions of otaku subculture. The effects of BL fandom have also had major impacts on quote-unquote mainstream anime fandom, with the term yaoi bait or fujoshi bait used to refer to generally low-quality shows or manga that are seemingly created with the intent of pandering to yaoi fans. I think the moment of realization for myself, and perhaps many other male anime fans at the time, of the scale of BL fandom was in Kyoto Animation, a studio that up until that point had come to prominence for otaku works like The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya or Lucky Star, and moe works like K-On! Adapted free. While the show is largely forgotten today, I remember the gay swimming anime being quite a big deal when it came out in the early 2010s, nor can we forget the widespread popularity of Yuri on Ice, or gay ice skating. In recent years, we also see yaoi and BL becoming a global phenomenon, especially in Asian countries. BL fiction, known as danmei in China, has rapidly taken off despite the fact that pornography and media depicting homosexuality is illegal in China. BL has also seen a similar rise in popularity in countries like Thailand, South Korea, Taiwan, and the Philippines. Much like Japan, international audiences for yaoi and BL are primarily young women. The globalization of BL has itself spawned significant academic attention and probably deserves an investigation all to itself. Now we come to the question that this entire piece has been building towards. Why exactly is BL so popular, particularly with heterosexual women? One reading is to simply dismiss this entire line of questioning as trite. After all, no one seems to question why lesbian porn is very popular among men. But the massive popularity of BL has spawned numerous investigations into the rationale behind its widespread readership. For starters, the reasons behind why yaoi became so popular in Japan and why it became so popular with international audiences are likely quite different. For one, conventional wisdom suggests that Japanese yaoi fans are predominantly heterosexual women. From what I can tell, this remains largely true, but there are constituencies of LGBTQ women or even men that consume BL content. The limited research on Chinese danmei fans seems to more or less mirror assumptions of Japanese BL fans, with the majority being heterosexual women. In the English-speaking world, this assumption that BL fans are mostly heterosexual women seems much more dubious. One survey of the yaoi fan site Aaron Fantasy found that heterosexual women made up less than half of the sample. A 2013 study of users of Archive of Our Own, a fanfiction site that skews heavily towards female readers and male-on-male pairings, found that only around a third of the respondents identified as heterosexual. A 2023 study of roughly 5,000 AO3 users found that only 14% of respondents identified as heterosexual, suggesting that heterosexual women make up an increasingly small portion of the English male-on-male romance audience. The difference in identification between Asian BL fans and Anglophone ones is likely a result of cultural differences that I will discuss later. The most obvious Occam's razor explanation for yaoi's popularity is that women find yaoi to be sexually arousing, and that BL acts as autoerotic pornography for women. Indeed, this rationale seems to be supported by survey data of yaoi fans. Analysis of BL, especially in comparison to explicit doujinshi for men, finds that BL tends to have a greater focus on the pleasure of both parties involved. Thus, BL places more emphasis on the romantic attraction between partners, which might help to explain why BL serves what one scholar called the, quote, autonomous female pleasure-seeking impulse, end quote. However, yaoi and yaoi fans have become the subject of great interest by academics, whose work I'll attempt to summarize here. While yaoi's initial rise to prominence during the 1970s and 1980s was largely ignored by academics, by the 1990s the phenomenon was so widespread that it became the subject of interest among Japanese and non-Japanese scholars alike. Early work tended to focus on psychoanalytic analysis of yaoi as the avenue for understanding yaoi's popularity with young women. Essentially, early work on the popularity of yaoi argued that it was a medium for women to escape patriarchal and hegemonic norms of femininity. Read this way, BL is meant to be understood less as being about male-on-male relationships, but as a kind of neutral, non-gendered space for women to explore their sexuality in ways that diverge from societal expectations. The feminist sociologist Ueno Chizuko argued that the beautiful boys that appear in BL are meant to be neither male nor female, but rather represent a kind of third sex that women can project into and engage in kinds of imagined perfect relationships. This is a point also argued by the sociologist Kazuko Suzuki. In her analysis of BL, she argues that the genre allows women to escape Confucian norms of female sexuality being wholly limited to childbirth.
Oh, there's ads.
In her 1998 essay, Pornography
Even
or
my
Therapy,
iPod.
Japanese Girls Creating the
Fucking
Yaoi
robot.
Phenomenon, she writes, quote, abandonment of the female body via the depiction of male homosexual relations emerges as a result of disappointment with a society characterized by sexual oppression. The theory that BL provides women a way to escape from traditional norms of femininity is reinforced in analysis of Chinese yaoi writers and fans. A 2020 study of Chinese yaoi writers argues that the production of yaoi in China is a kind of digital feminist counterculture that seeks to fight against Confucian gender norms pushed by the Chinese Communist Party. Despite extensive state censorship, online yaoi spaces serve as a site for a kind of feminist resistance that allows Chinese women to escape binary gender norms. A 2010 survey of Taiwanese yaoi fans produces similar responses to the Chinese cohort, with respondents saying that they are drawn to yaoi by the ability to challenge social taboos and such or experience freedom from gender constraints. This psychoanalytical approach to yaoi helps to explain why demographics of yaoi readers are so different in East Asia versus in the West. We believe that yaoi serves as a way for women to escape from the negative aspects of femininity. This explains why a comparatively smaller portion of the Western yaoi fanbase identify as heterosexual women. Women in Western countries, broadly speaking, have more autonomy, and Western countries are generally less sexist, so the impetus to use yaoi fiction to escape negative gender stereotypes and expectations is less pronounced. This also might help to explain why Western yaoi readers are more likely to identify as sexual minorities, as those groups tend to have greater feelings of societal alienation. Since the 2000s, the psychoanalytical framework for understanding yaoi fandom has come under scrutiny by others who argue that simply viewing yaoi as a way to escape from the societal demands and expectations of womanhood are incomplete. The sociologist Kaneda Junko criticized these early approaches as pathologizing BL fans and perpetuating stereotypes of Japanese women as psychologically vulnerable and weak. Instead, Kaneda argues that analysis of BL fandom should instead focus on how female readers derive entertainment and pleasure from their engagement with BL texts. Deborah Shamoon, in her book Passionate Friendship, argues that BL stories provide a safe space for girls and young women to explore their sexuality and relationships with boys. She explains how works like Toma no Shinzo or The Rose of Versailles profoundly shaped how women saw sex and relationships, with readers expressing their enjoyment of an idealized romantic love between equals, one that they presumably could not access in works depicting heterosexual romance, where the woman is often depicted as passive and dependent on their male partner. Much of the analysis of yaoi fandom is
I can
limited
show
by the
it
fact
right
that
now.
most studies are conducted by analyzing BL texts themselves and drawing conclusions about readers indirectly, rather than through direct interaction or
Ito
observation
yung
of yaoi
ginagawa ko
fans
ngayon.
themselves. This is a limitation that Patrick Galbraith sought to rectify in his research
And I
that
have
examines the way
sipon.
that Japanese yaoi fangirls, or fujoshi, communicate with each other and how that communication serves a quote pleasure-oriented way of enjoying BL. Fujoshi, the Japanese term for female fans of BL and yaoi, is a play on words that turns the term for women into a homonym for rotted girl. Fujoshi are considered rotted because their preference for fictional male-on-male relationships deviate from the expected social role of women in Japan. The term originated as a pejorative, but has since been reclaimed as a descriptive way for BL fans to identify themselves,
I look
with
like a
many women
cat.
embracing the label
You know
to
what, that's
distinguish
fine.
themselves from normies
Drop
or
pa naman yung
ippanjin.
ginagawa ko.
Through his interactions and observations of Fujoshi, Galbraith argues that what defines Fujoshi is their appreciation of moe, an effective response or desire and attachment to fictional representations. He writes, quote, "In pursuit of moe, the Fujoshi interacts with fiction, other people, and the world differently. Essentially, Fujoshi are attracted to the fiction and fantasy of the male-on-male relationships in BL, and it's precisely because those relationships are divorced from reality that makes BL so appealing to Fujoshi. One of the women Galbraith spoke to identified as a lesbian and obviously had no attraction to real men, gay or straight, despite her deep interest in fictional men. Another woman described how she would imagine her boyfriend in situations of other men, despite the fact that he had no interest in men, nor did she want her boyfriend to have relations, sexual or otherwise, with men. Galbraith describes how Fujoshi engage in moe talk, or moe banashi, where they discuss the moe aspects of different characters, couplings, and situations. Consider one of the most common examples of moe talk, namely determining which character is the seme, or top, and which one is the uke, or bottom. On the surface, it seems rather bizarre to discuss male homosexual sex in such a blasé manner, not unlike how one might discuss handbags or clothes. But Fujoshi are not describing themselves or real people, but rather discussing the moe points of different characters. Moe talk provides Fujoshi the ability to engage in what Galbraith terms transgressive intimacy, where moe is, quote, used to empathetically express deep, personal, intimate, and even transgressive emotions in networks of mutual exposure and vulnerability, end quote. By engaging in the fantasy of discussing risque topics of BL, Fujoshi are able to identify and form strong bonds with each other, helping to explain why women and BL doujinshi circles continue to dominate komiket. Read this way, Fujoshi are not unlike otaku, who are generally understood to be mostly male. While Fujoshi are marginalized for their perverse and deviant interest in fictional men and male-on-male relationships, otaku are marginalized for their similar attraction to fictional girls. While otaku can turn animals, machines, and even historical figures into cute girls to trigger moe, Fujoshi are able to turn everything about the beautiful boy into a site for moe as well. Galbraith recounts one example where the Fujoshi he observed were able to read a yaoi coupling into the Great Wave at Kanagawa, a woodblock print with no obvious yaoi undertones. Fujoshi and otaku operate with similar preferences for fictional contexts, a preference that exists precisely because these fictional contexts are divorced from reality. Much like how male otaku build databases of moe elements based on fictional girls they covet, creating different constitutions of archetypes like the kudere, yandere, or tsundere, Fujoshi do a similar thing through their constant variations and reconstitution of the seme-uke relationship, with the seme and uke being associated with different traits and characteristics. Essentially, the appeal of BL is not merely escaping from the negative aspects of femininity, but BL and moe talk provide women with a positive space to explore imagination and sexual desire with one another. From what I can find, comparatively little research exists on the motivation of Western yaoi fans, and even less discusses male fans of yaoi, called fudanshi or rotten boys in Japan. One 2018 study used what they deemed the Yaoi Consumption Motives Questionnaire to empirically analyze the motivations behind yaoi readership among English-speaking fans. The most important motivator behind yaoi consumption were generally that respondents found yaoi sexually arousing, female-oriented, different from traditional romance, and that yaoi allows for self-identification with the characters and stories. Escapism and yaoi's promotion of non-gendered or pro-homosexual narratives also scored highly, particularly for respondents who did not identify as heterosexual. This survey suggests that motivations for yaoi consumption are multifaceted, encompassing a variety of reasons, including escapism, sexual gratification, or engagement with moe. Now that I've produced something like 5,000 words on the history and analysis of yaoi, I find myself wondering, what was even the point of this exercise? Other than for my own, and the audience's edification, of course. What strikes me is the degree to which the history of the female-dominated yaoi industry and audience are deeply intertwined and parallel the development of the stereotypically male otaku culture. Both yaoi and modern otaku culture were the outgrowths of the revolution in shoujo manga in the 1970s, with yaoi fans latching on to the male-on-male romance legacy of the Year 24 group, while otaku focused on the beautiful girl characters descended from shoujo manga.
I kinda understand,
one of
but
the quintessential icons of Japanese anime manga fandom, owes its existence in large part to female BL fans. Both male otaku and female fujoshi graduate to media that society deems unacceptable as a way to escape the hegemonic pressures of Japanese society, while otaku are denigrated as failed men who are obsessed with fictional girls because they cannot get together with real women. Fujoshi are labeled as rotten girls because their similar perverse interests defy traditional expectations of womanhood. Both otaku and fujoshi demonstrate an intense preference for fiction. Their preference for cute girls and beautiful boys respectively are not because they resemble real people or situations in any way, but it's precisely their fictional nature that makes them so powerful. While I'm not going to go out and read BL myself, I certainly have more respect for BL and BL fans after all this research and analysis.
Oh, that's it? Ads.
Hello everyone, I am not your friend. But some people think I am. And despite me being the most average channel on this website, I myself have gotten messages from people who I can only describe as, do they think I'm their friend? It used to happen a lot back when I streamed Don't Starve with my viewers every week. Some guy I've never met in my life would randomly message me going, hey, want to play Don't Starve? And while there's nothing inherently wrong with asking me if I want to play something, the thing about these people is that they simply cannot take no for an answer, thinking that if they just ask again, surely my answer would change. It did not. Unfortunately, no one has ever tried making a game that explores. If I wanted to crush someone's dreams of becoming a famous live streamer, I'd force them to play Needy Streamer Overload. On the surface, it's kind of like those weird YouTuber simulator games, where the goal is to upload videos that get exponentially more views every time. Only, instead of becoming a rich superstar who everyone loves, you repeatedly ruin Ame's life trying to make her famous. So much so that the game's Steam page questions if it's even possible for a story like this to have a happy ending. For this reason, I've seen people call it a horror game, which technically isn't wrong considering the game contains scenes of cutting, but with the amount of times I've laughed at the stupid dialogue perfectly imitating internet culture or the ridiculous fan interactions, it really feels like more of a parody or a satire, something that makes fun of parasocial relationships instead of a game that actively tries to scare you. A big part of Needy Streamer Overload is something you don't get to normally see, and that's the live streamer's perspective. Most discussion on parasocial relationships is so hyper-focused on the audience that they never even consider the other side. They rarely think about what the person behind the persona is feeling. Needy Streamer Overload is the opposite in that the story takes place exclusively through Ame's perspective, and I find that really interesting because despite Kangel's many fans who are unhealthily obsessed with her channel, the person who's most obsessed with Kangel might actually be the one behind the persona. And in order to explain what I mean, I'm going to show you what an average playthrough of Needy Streamer Overload looks like. I see you've logged in. This is it. This is where our forever begins. We'll be together no matter what happens online, whether I die, or I get arrested, or I break, or I get stabbed, or I get flamed, or I become God, or I go crazy. But even so, I have nowhere else to turn to. Because I have trouble getting out of bed in the morning, I don't want to go out, I don't want to get a proper job, I'm scared of other people, adults piss me off, and I'm stupid. But I still want everyone to fawn over me. And streamers
Kinda
get
hits
fawned over
home,
the most
not gonna
right
lie.
now. So that's why I wanted to be one. Also, she's your girlfriend for some reason because you really couldn't find anyone better, could you? After this speech, the tutorial stream starts where we are introduced to Ame's streaming persona, Kangel, the person she pretends to be while on camera. The dichotomy between the two becomes more obvious in her Twitter posts after each stream. Hey everyone, wow, this is my first time meeting all of you. I'm not reading that, you're Internet Angel. What did you guys think of my first stream? I hope you liked it because I'm going to keep trying my hardest to bring lots and lots of joy. So please be nice to me. Oh my fucking god, I made some basic ass post and everyone was still really nice and commented and liked it and stuff. You then get your messages spammed along with 1,000 new subscribers from one stream. Most people would probably freak out if their channel got 1,000 subscribers overnight. But Ame doesn't even react at all. We've got 1,000 subscribers, but that's not enough. I want more people to fawn over me. I need at least 1 million fans to satisfy my desperate need for approval. And we gotta get to that within a month because that's the most motivation I've got. The next day is when the game properly begins and lets you do pretty much whatever you want, either by actually trying to get 1 million subscribers or by immediately taking her to the hospital. Doing this causes the game to end early, but the most interesting part about this ending, to me at least, is the message you get at the end of it. If you believe Ame got into streaming for the wrong reasons, or if you think having any mental darkness is dangerous, then the game actually lets you seek help. However, doing so will give you the message, humans can't live completely stress-free, don't you think? As if to say, yeah, that would be the reasonable thing to do in this situation. Stop playing this game like a reasonable person. So I reloaded the save and did just that. Look at Twitter all day. What's this stuff about angels? What if she's recruiting for a cult? Conspiracy theories are always so interesting to read about. But, you know, I feel like if you go deep enough, you'll end up buying into it sooner or later. Curiosity killed the cat kind of deal. I'm fine though, I'd never let that happen to me. I'm the most rational and logical person in the world.
Hello,
By this
Iori.
point
How
it
are
was
you?
nighttime, which means the game gave me
Nakita
the option to
nag-stream
stream.
ah,
My
bakit?
two options were chat and
I don't
chill
see you streaming
and
anymore.
gaming. Chat and chill streams are kind of
Nung
boring,
ano,
so I
tawag doon?
chose
Nung
conspiracy
nag-live ka
theories.
bigla,
What if the government made you a
tinignan ko busy
nerd?
sa real life.
But
Oh
it's
no.
okay, because even if you
Sige.
were all manipulated
Good luck
into
sa real
being
life
nerds,
to,
you
Iori.
got to meet a real life. Feels like you're going
Ako
to
din
eventually
eh.
go off the deep end if you keep this up.
Na ano,
If there's one thing you can
nagpapabayaan ko
trust
na
is
din
true
yung
on the
ano,
internet,
channel
it's
ko.
that you guys
That's why
all
I'm
met
doing this.
me. So be proud
Kahit
of
may
the fact
ginagawa
that
ko,
you're my fan.
I do
I
this.
would never trick you or turn my back on you. I will shit talk you on my private account though. But okay, that might have been a level 1 conspiracy theory. But that's because the game lets you go much
Ayun.
deeper.
Nawala
This
ka
is
na din
stream
sa
1
ano.
of the possible 5
Tawag yan
you
sa
can
server.
do. Before we get to that though, you may be wondering,
Nangyari.
how does Ame afford
Nawala
a
ka
place
bigla.
to
Sabi
stay if she
nila
doesn't even have a
nag-leave ka daw.
job? The answer is, she doesn't. And you're about to get kicked out if rent doesn't get paid by day 10. So the obvious thing to do here would be to play more video games. I hope you guys are having a good day. I am super pumped because I've been up early to prepare for the next stream. And I know you adorable fans will love what I have planned. Stay tuned. Everything I say on Kangel is a lie. I don't have anything planned.
Ano ba
I just
ginagawa ko?
remembered this game where you
Okay,
become
so
some
tama yung
big
ginagawa
shot.
ko.
Only one government
Spacing
30
left.
years later?
Yung emotes
Conglomerates
ko.
are scheming to create an incredibly disparate society where they will eventually
Disparate.
take over. They're even trying to reduce the world population to 1 billion, or so the conspiracy theorists say. I shall be the new god of this world. No matter what the world comes to, please don't lose your faith in me, okay? Bless. To be honest, sometimes I think that the internet is such a mess because there are too many people. So what
Ano
if
kaya
we
next
reduce the
gagawin ko?
population by 90%?
Oh, raid.
That's
Raid
just a
pala.
shower top though. I'd never actually want to make that happen.
Raid.
Those who do not fight do not survive. And this is the image attached.
Ayun,
In order to
Iori.
unlock the next conspiracy streams, I need to reach a certain threshold of subscribers. And in order to gain those subscribers, I began using the chat and chill streams. And I know I said earlier that chat and chill streams are usually boring, so I wouldn't do them. However, in this game, they are super interesting. Because the more of them you do, the more you learn about Ame's backstory. Even just the first
Anong
stream
commission?
gives us a good
Hindi.
insight into
Ako
her character.
nag-drawing.
I love the internet because
I
all
draw
you
it
lovely
and then it's
people are
mine.
willing to listen to me. My biggest
I'm
fear is
not,
abandonment.
opening
I can't
commissions.
imagine
Nope.
living your life without being needed by anyone. I love you guys
Ayun,
for hearing
Iori.
me out. I'll keep working my hardest for you all. Because it's all over if you get bored of I'm bored. Get lost. After that, I used the gaming streams to farm even more subscribers, which is how I got to 10,000. Although, we didn't get to play anything because Flash Games died like 3 years ago. After reaching 10,000 subscribers, we learned that Ame had an old Twitter account with over 10,000 followers, which is likely the reason she didn't react at the 1,000 earlier.
Oh.
But who cares about that? It's time to watch a sad film. Maybe I'll talk about conspiracy theories again today. I got a lot of views last time. But, you know, I'm a little scared that the more I talk about them, the more I'll buy into them. But I don't think I have to dwell on that too much. And plus, I guess believing in them is kind of like its own brand of happiness for those that do. I think I'll talk about
Umaabot ng 1,000
microchips
followers.
next.
Ako. I'm
As
halfway
technology
there.
improves by leaps and bounds,
Iko-consistent ko
perhaps
ulit
one
yung
day we will all be
pag-stream.
microchipped.
Mas lalo na yung
Maybe,
L2D ko
just
ay
maybe, we already
I'm gonna
have
receive
these
it by
chips in
next
our
week.
arms,
Hindi, not
and
next
the
week,
moment
next
you
month.
act out of line, some big
Ginagawa
shot
na
could-
siya.
Microchips are like whatever, because even without them, you can't actually prove we have free will. What a fucking response.
Thank you, Iori. Yeah. Nakausap ko na siya pero ano,
Please ask for help from others,
kalahati
especially
ko
when
pa yun
things
na
get too
nababayaran.
unbearable. That's not you
Baya,
being weak.
ano,
It takes a huge
when we
amount of
talk,
courage
sabi
to
niya,
reach
half
out.
muna.
Yup,
Kaya
just
kapag
another
natapos
day
na
of
siya,
being
doon ko
ignored by the
babayaran
angel, which are problems because
yung
dealing
muna.
with them is a pain.
Debut.
Also,
Walang
you know all that
debut,
stuff that
debut.
happened earlier?
Mahal
Yeah, forget
ng ano.
about it. It's all fine because we
Kung
have a
ano-ano yung
sponsorship.
kino-commissions.
Anyway, the next conspiracy stream was locked by 100k, so I began checking out more of the chat and chill streams to learn more about Ame's backstory. And while the High School of Dread stream still
yeah,
needs a lot to
Iori,
be
kailan yung ano
explained, the
natin?
pieces are starting to fit into place. My childhood.
Kailan yung
I didn't
Overcooked
really
nating
go to
collab?
school much. I only really finished. I'm an angel. Angels don't have academic
Collab
records.
nating
I never had
Overcooked
to
with
go to
Hero
school.
Zen
I
and the
never had to
others.
do
Ah.
exams. Next question.
Dapat ano,
You're a dropout? Don't
I
judge a
already
person by
played
their
the
academic
game, like
record. I
kaming
may be a
tatlo
little stupid, but I've got
with
a
my
heart of
friends
gold.
before.
I
Hindi,
don't go
kailangan
to school
apat.
either because it
Apat
scares
tayo.
me. And that's okay. We
Mag
can
ano,
just
mag-invite
we
tayo
can
kung
all
sino
live off
sa
our cuteness. Who needs school?
server ni Toothpaste
Do
kung
you
sinong
even
merong
have any
Overcooked.
friends?
Tara!
I don't need offline friends. I mean, why would I when I can just log on and see
Ah.
you guys? We then play some sort of mixture of Doom and Halo to further
Oh.
increase subscribers. What's sociality? Something none of you guys have. Do you like murder? Yeah, of course I do. I love playing games with everyone. Because I never had any friends to play with. Luckily, that was all I needed to reach 100,000 subscribers. Unfortunately, I also accidentally broke the stress cap.
Ah, sorry ha, ano yun Hachime kumausap sa akin.
No one
Overcook
will save
tayo!
you. I always have and always
Overcook
will,
tayo with
Kuro.
ano, Hiruzen, tsaka
Can you
plus
fuck
one.
off, please? Although,
Oh.
in very comedic fashion, the very next day, Ame feels better because that breakdown stream
Yeah,
is what caused her to reach 250,000 subscribers.
di ko alam.
What am I even
Tanungin
meant to
natin
say
si,
to
ano,
this?
si
The answer
Zen.
is, who
Tsaka kung
cares?
sino pa sa, ano,
250,000
server
is
ni
all I need to
Toothpaste.
unlock the
Tara!
last conspiracy streams. And the first step to unlocking those is to take some magic paper.
Ah, sige. Pero yun nga, busy ka eh. Nahihirapan nga kami ni Hiruzen sa Aeronoptosis, di ba? Na natapos namin mga
The
2
fourth
months na
conspiracy stream
pagkatapos.
is
Pero
how
depende
Ame
kung
goes
ano
off
magiging
the
schedule ko
deep
sa
end,
work. Oh,
claiming
sige.
to have seen the truth
Sige,
of all
Yori. Nag-work
truths.
ka
The chat,
na.
by the way, does not
Good luck
question
sa
this at
work.
all. And I don't know if that's more concerning than what I'm seeing happen on screen right
Good
now.
luck with your
Taking
Nomi
magic
work.
paper again unlocks the
Baka
final
sa morning na
conspiracy
ako maging
stream,
available.
where Ame
Sige.
takes her angel
Sige.
persona seriously and starts believing she's an actual angel who has come down to save the people on Earth. Or the
Fucking
internet, whatever
chuny.
say they. Hello everyone, no conspiracy theories today, but I do have something else
I'm
for you.
saying that as if I don't have a lore
She
myself.
then starts rambling about some incomprehensible garbage. At the end of the fifth stream, contrary to what you might expect,
Wait lang, I'm
you don't
working,
get an
wait.
ending. This is because there is actually a
Nanonood na
sixth
lang ako.
stream that will automatically play after you take magic paper again. The light stream is best described as 3 minutes of Kangel talking about eugenics, as in taking that kill 90% of the
She became a
population joke
god.
from earlier with 100% sincerity. And then the game ends, and you get the welcome to my religion ending as well as some cool fan art that you can look at. There's a lot you could say about this ending. For starters, it's a funny parody of what happens when you fall down a conspiracy pipeline. First, you're just memeing about murdering everyone. You're not actually being serious. But repeat a joke for long enough and it becomes something you believe in, which is what happens here. However, as interesting as that may be, the entirety of Welcome to My Religion also shows us how self-centered Ame is. The second she learns that the world is ending, her immediate reaction is that she has to be the one that saves everyone. It goes without saying that you need a really big ego to see yourself as the Messiah. But how could she not think like this? By the end of this run, Kangel has over 400,000 followers. That's a lot of people encouraging her to act the angel. However, while it doesn't happen in Welcome to My Religion, there is another ending that shows us the greater consequence of taking your silly little internet persona this seriously.
What is it?
Internet overdose is arguably the worst ending you could possibly get in this game, and figuring out how to reach the worst ending is harder than it seems, because there's no obvious bad options. The buttons you have access to on your desktop aren't all that dangerous, and they all lead to normal everyday activities. The worst thing you could do is end the game early by gaining too much stress or lowering your affection or something, but the endings you receive feel more like punishments for being bad at the game instead of anything you're supposed to seriously think about. Which leads us back to the original question: how do you get the worst possible ending? And the answer is actually quite simple. By playing the game like your average live streamer. Go for 1 million subscribers, stream every day without exception to maximize subscribers, and keep a rising stress meter for as long as possible, as the best options for lowering stress typically involve taking days off, something that will kill your channel growth in this game. So I reloaded the game and tried to play it like the most normal streamer possible. Already I was making huge progress, as the channel reached 600,000 on day 16 and then gained another 100,000 by the next day. However, you can tell this was starting to take a toll on Ame because I began getting messages like this. I'm getting more and more subscribers and my fans are showering me with all their love, but they're not any more than words and pixels on a screen. And it's all for my Kangel persona, it's not like they love me for who I am. Even though lowering stress gets in the way of streaming, you still have to do it, otherwise Ame deletes her account and you lose the game. Hence, it was time to pull out my questionable secret weapon.
What
This
is it?
button. By the way, if any of you know what this cryptic animation is supposed to represent, then I'd love to know because I have no idea. Continuing to play the game like this will eventually lead you to internet overdose. If you've never seen internet overdose before, then I highly recommend, no, I demand you either buy the game yourself and play it, or watch a let's play of it or something, because this is one of those things you have to see for yourself, and I don't want to ruin someone's first time viewing of what is genuinely one of the most uncomfortable experiences I've gotten from a video game. I've linked the full ending at the top of the description so that even the laziest possible person could watch it. So please, if you haven't seen this ending before, either buy the game and play it for yourself or watch the ending on YouTube. But do one of the two and then come back, because I promise you, you do not want internet overdose spoiled for you. On a very surface level, internet overdose is about what happens when people who are clearly mentally unwell get a large following. Ame's continual abuse of pills makes her an easy target for the stream chat, as her manic and over-the-top reactions are exactly what the trolls want out of her, which of course leads to her being doxxed on 4chan. It's also a commentary on how evil
Not
people on the internet can
4chan.
be. The hypocrisy of calling Kangel pathetic before continuing to watch
Anything but
exactly
4chan.
how no one shows sympathy towards Kangel's situation and treats what is essentially a pure nightmare scenario for her like entertainment. The crazy drama of the week that news sites and other YouTubers report on. Like, look at this guy. Apparently, people found out Kangel's identity and she's some weird girl called Ame. Weird name, but okay. Like, what do you mean, weird name, but okay? It's disturbing how often people's real lives get treated like content on the internet. That being said, one thing I really like about this ending is how authentic the audience feels. It would be really easy to make chat this homogenous entity full of evil people who are all identical clones of each other, but instead a variety of viewers with differing opinions are present, which makes it more realistic. Not everyone is here to watch the chaos unfold or to troll Kangel. Among the bad actors, there's people who genuinely fear for Kangel's safety, as well as others who just want her to go back to making regular live streams again. It's a small thing, but it makes the stream chat feel like it has real people inside of it. However, that's all you'll get out of this ending by looking at it literally, because the second half of Internet Overdose is filled with metaphors and a full-on poem, so we'll have to look at it from another angle. And first, let's go over some of the common theories I've seen for Internet Overdose. Some people believe that the person ringing her doorbell never actually existed, and that Ame imagined the whole scenario out of sheer paranoia. It's not too unbelievable, as by the end she's legitimately afraid that a helicopter is spying on her, although I don't like this one because it's boring. I think everything we see in Internet Overdose really does happen, and the only part that may be a hallucination is the last stream. Unscrambling the stream
Hello,
table gives you the
Shishio.
message,
How are
"Welcome
you?
to the Internet Angel stream."
I just
Unscrambling
made
the
something
end
very
message
funny.
reads, "Now she is
I was
truly
doing
happy."
emotes.
But I don't believe that one, because this entire stream is
This is
clearly
supposed to
some
be
sort
a
of
raid
hallucination. Not only does the live
emote,
chat
but
suddenly not
I don't
question
know what
Kangel's
I'm doing.
appearance, but if you watch them for long enough, you'll realize that the messages
Wait,
being
I'll show it.
sent are repeating. It's the
I'll
same
show
few
it.
messages being
Wait.
sent over and over again. Hovering your mouse over them turns it into glitched text, which apparently
Where's my
translates
Steam?
to "help me."
No, not
The
Steam.
other theory attempts to explain the sudden presence of blood in the background of the fourth stream. It appears there one stream without explanation, and it's led fans
This
to
is so
speculate what
hard.
actually went down before the stream.
Every time I
The
want
most
to show
obvious
you guys
explanation
something,
is that Ame once again
I need to
self-destructs, which causes
screenshot
what the game
it,
files call water
send to
start dripping from
Discord,
the ceiling.
open
There is another theory,
Discord,
though, one that is both
open
more
it in the
popular
browser, and
and
then
more
you guys can
unhinged. A stray
see
cat
it.
came in through my window. Cats are
Like,
practically
why?
worshipped on the internet, so I'd bet he'd get way
Here
more
we go.
views than me. I hated that thought.
That's what I'm
So I
doing right
chased it
now.
away.
It's a peak
After this
emote and
post,
then
the
supposed to
fourth
be a
stream
raid.
starts, where Kangel starts talking about how she used to have a pet
I don't
puppy
know.
that died because she wasn't able to take care of it properly.
Maybe
Then on
Wiggle?
the final stream,
I don't
Kangel
know.
starts alluding
I actually
to doing
don't know.
something really,
Wiggle,
really
wiggle,
bad.
wiggle. Better
Do
than
you
wiggle,
see what
wiggle.
I'm saying? It's not explicitly
Ayan.
stated, but like, connect the dots. In all honesty,
Pero
though,
I need,
don't think
dapat
Ame
radian.
actually killed a cat or anything like that. The blood
Maybe I
probably
put
came
a
from a
sign
much
sa
more
baba.
obvious source. However, the cat being
Rage.
chased away has some interesting symbolism to it. Throughout the game, Ame is
So that
consistently
whenever people are,
associated with cat imagery,
subscribe to
whether
my
it's this
channel,
tutorial cat that
at
follows
least
your mouse in the
they
intro,
they have
the cat
something
in your
in return.
headphones, or this image. It's not uncommon to see her represented as a stray cat. So when Kangel chases away the stray cat, she isn't literally chasing away a
Hello,
cat. She's
Hajiro.
chasing
I
away
am
the thing it
making
represents.
emotes.
Kangel becomes
I've
so
already
jealous that
done the
Ame is
lurking and
suddenly
peeking.
getting more
Now I'm
attention
doing the
than the
raid one.
internet angel that she
I'm
chased
a
her
lurk lang.
away.
Thank you for
This
the
is
lurk,
further supported
Hajiro.
by what
Really
happens in
appreciate
the
it.
final stream,
Thank you,
where
thank
we see
you.
Kangel holding a bloody
Ito na yung
figure
nagawa ko.
portrait of Ame. The eye that would normally be covered by her hair is
Isa.
now covered in blood, symbolizing
Ayan na yung
her
ginagawa
death.
ko.
In Welcome to My Religion, Ame became obsessed with her online
Ayan,
persona. With
tawagan.
an
Gawa
internet
yan ni
overdose, we see the
Reki.
damaging effects this
I
obsession
can't
has on her real life.
copy the
As
art
even when
style.
she's offline,
I don't know
all
how.
Ame can think about is
But
Kangel
yeah,
and what other
this
people are
is my
thinking
own
about her.
emotes.
Abusing
I'm making it
medication,
on my own.
self-destructing to cope with
It's the
online drama.
pre-emotes.
Yet for
Yes, yes,
some
yes.
reason, she
Pre-emotes
keeps
siya.
engaging with the thing that
That
is
you guys can
actively
use
making her life
kapag
worse. Ame continues to stream
na
every
hindi kayo
day,
subscribe. You
desperately
can
trying to
use it. Yes,
force the
yes, yes.
Kangel
On my
persona,
channel
despite
lang.
feeling terrible
Yung
inside.
mga
She would rather destroy her mind through live streaming than take care
commission
of the real
emotes
person behind the
from
camera. Something that
any
seems to be
artist.
rooted in a deep
Yun yung
feeling of
you guys have to
inadequacy and
subscribe
the
to use
belief
it.
that
Yeah.
Ame isn't acting
And
outside of her internet
I
persona.
promise that all of them
There's this
are
whole
animated.
rabbit
Yeah,
hopping
yeah.
around
And it's
in front of
funny.
me. It's so
Animated
cute.
emotes are
Rabbits were my
funnier.
favorite animal when I was a child. I used to want to become a rabbit. Plus, humans are so complicated. I would much rather hop around and eat carrots all day and then fly to the moon. Way better than being a human. I've been thinking about how this internet angel persona was born from the
What
perfection I've
else?
always been subconsciously aspiring for.
Mukhang
Like she's the
Powerpuff Girls.
embodiment of my ideal self.
Yung gawa
What
ko
is this
mukhang
rabbit I'm
Powerpuff
seeing
Girls.
anyway? Like,
Ito.
I know it's a hallucination and all, but I really don't have
Ito
anything
pala yung
small and cute in my
naiisip ko
room.
kanina.
So what could it have
It's like a
morphed from?
chibi
I really hope Kangel becomes her own
cartoon.
independent concept that only exists
But
on
yeah.
the internet. Oh my god, are you for real? This is so fucking funny.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a mirror right now. Suddenly became really scared of dying, so I want to talk about it. The thought of everything suddenly ending is really scary. Like, what would you do if you just died one day without warning? That shit's scary. I wish I could live forever online as Kangel. Her wish gets granted at the end of Internet Overdose, and we get to see the horrifying implications of living on the internet, which I think is the core message behind Internet Overdose. Don't become so obsessed with the internet that your online persona becomes more important than the real you. Don't ignore your life outside the internet, or you'll become the content you used to produce.
Definitely not me.
Shout out to the trolls online who have never heard of the concept of empathy, you cold-hearted fiends. Anyway, I'm gonna go and reply to some haters. She's only good for her looks, and what about it? I'm popular because I'm pretty. Bet she only does this for the money. Stay poor, bitch. Have fun with your crusty ass opinions. Haters are all doing it for the attention? Exactly. Haters are the type of creature that die if you don't give it any attention. How sad. By this point, it might seem like I only reached a bad ending because I never reached 1 million subscribers. Technically we reached it here, but because it happened right as Internet Overdose started, it overrided her reaction, and therefore we never got to see Ame's response
Paano
to
talaga
her
po sa...
milestone. However, even if Ame did get more popular, her life would only
I
get
read that
worse,
wrong.
as reloading the game and
Hello,
optimizing my
Kizuha.
route leads me
How
to
are
the
you?
Dark
I hope you
Angel
have a
stream.
wonderful night. Yes, 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 yes. Nag-drawing lang ako dito. Oh.
However, Needy Streamer Overload isn't a totally cynical game, as there is a few genuinely happy moments which stand out a lot due to the game's otherwise pessimistic nature.
I
One
shortened my
example is
hair.
the final Kangel Try Stuff stream, in which
No,
she goes and visits her
I'm
biggest
drawing.
fan,
I
and
am
the idea
drawing.
that in
That's
this
a
game sounds
YouTube
like it could
video.
only go badly. Despite that, this stream caught me completely
Di
off
ko, ano
guard
eh, di ko,
because it's
di ko
weirdly
kaya
wholesome. The whole
ipakita
game is
yung
filled
iPad
with
ko like
cynical
live.
humor and witty
Ang
dialogue, so
nagagawa
my
ko
first
lang
playthrough
is
was just waiting for for the subversion.
Screenshots ng
Waiting for the
ginagawa ko.
moment
Pero
when the
yan,
maiden
yung
all
yan,
falls
yan yung
apart
ano ko.
and the game's
Progress
classic
ko, I
funny
guess.
satirical
Ayan.
dialogue kicks in.
Mukha siyang
But
Powerpuff
that
Girls.
moment never came. Everything goes according to plan, and it leads to
Ayan.
this rare
Raid
touching
tsaka
moment of
lurking
Kangel
na yung
meeting her
ginagawa ko.
biggest fan. There's nothing more to it. This is genuinely just a nice stream where Kangel goes out of her way to make a kid happy. I guess you could make the argument that she's
Paano to? Ang
only
laki
doing it
ng
to look
ulo.
better on camera, but shut up. There's also the good ending you can find if you play the game correctly and find a good work-life balance. And to do that, I'm going to do something no self-centered YouTuber with high ambitions for fame would ever do. Take a break.
Raid time. May raid time lalagay ko.
Oh, for fuck. You can tell you are on the right path because playing well enough results in Ame getting a music record deal, which on the penultimate day gets you this post. Clicking on the image causes an almost 4-minute music video by the name of Internet Overdose to start playing. The song is about... I have no idea what the song is about, but she's happy, so it's probably fine. We then get the final stream in which Kangel
Fucking
buys a new
commentary.
house and seems genuinely
Eating
happy for
something.
once.
Okay,
And I
thank you
couldn't
for
have
the
done it
lurky,
without all your
Zuha.
help. So thank you all.
I am
hope
just
you'll all continue
drawing.
to love and support me. Anyway, I'll see you all later. Bless.
Bless.
Life is good,
Good luck,
and it's all
Hapanachi.
thanks
Thank
to
you.
Let's keep living our
I
best life
promise to
together.
finish this all by tonight.
Wait, hold on, what's this?
Wait lang, 9 na pala. Abyss.
Damned the player. I guess pretending to be happy isn't too bad, but thanking him made me kind of emotional. This kind of happiness is so bland though. Streaming just to make my fans happy is such a drag. Living together with the player is so boring now. This is how the game kicks you in the teeth. Typically, when games have multiple endings, especially as many as 24, you'd expect them to have at least one good ending. But the big plot twist of Needy Streamer Overload is that there is no good ending, and Ame's quest for 1 million subscribers was doomed to fail from the beginning. At least in the bad endings, you feel like you deserve what you got. You acted like a bad person, so you got the bad ending. Here though, I did literally everything right. I did exactly as I was told. I made sure Ame never got too stressed, and all I get at the end is the game telling me that this didn't make her happy. Nothing has actually changed. Ame is the exact same person by the end of the game as she is at the start. A good representation of this comes in another ending you can get on day 30 called Do You Love Me? An ending that is best characterized by the words, "It feels good, but it's not enough." Reaching 1 million subscribers fails to fill the abyss inside of her, so Ame goes through a constantly escalating list of endeavors with the goal of reaching the highest she thought this milestone should have given. In other words, the entire ending is a giant allegory for addiction. After visiting an amusement park, she starts off with the tamer attractions like the cute little merry-go-round. When that doesn't work, she goes on the roller coaster that is explicitly described as dangerous. When that doesn't work, she smokes weed on a public bench. When that doesn't work, she goes on the Ferris wheel, something that by her own admission is scarier than the dangerous roller coaster. From there, it keeps escalating and escalating until we reach the final stream at the very top of a big wheel. After saying that she wants to feel something more, the stream ends and we get the message, "Be careful of overdosing on emotion." Whether or not Kangel dies to overdose from some unknown stronger drug is left up to interpretation, but what strikes me as important is the constant theme of wheels and circles here. Kangel starts Do You Love Me by mentioning that the world is going round and round. She then goes on a merry-go-round. The roller coaster could be seen as a loop since they eventually take you back to where you started, and then there's the obvious Ferris wheel. Perhaps this is a metaphor on how pointless Ame's endless quest for validation is. She is never truly satisfied with her number of subscribers and is therefore constantly in a loop, always wanting more, never being satisfied. And due to the nature of a loop, nothing about her situation ever changes. Ame is the exact same person at the end of the game as she is by the start, still going through the exact same struggles. The Ferris wheel could also be seen as symbolism for how with every high comes a great low. While Kangel might feel happy at the top of a Ferris wheel, the big wheel will inevitably take her to the bottom. And once the drugs wear off, Kangel will have to deal with the consequences of completely destroying her public image by smoking that and kissing an unknown figure on camera. Essentially, it's all just another bad ending, because there are no good endings in Needy Streamer Overload, and 1 million subscribers was never what Ame actually wanted. That being said, the whole "there are no good endings" comes with a big asterisk at the end, because there are no good endings you can get by live streaming. Normie life is honestly a pretty good outcome when compared to everything else, and you can get that without interacting with the internet at all right at the start of the game. But there are 3 other endings that are more in your face about this fact. The requirements to get Happy End World are the exact same as Unhappy End World, with the express difference that your real computer's internet connection has to be turned off, leading to an ending where Kangel quits the internet forever. Her audience is initially pissed at this, but eventually all quit the internet as well. Everyone becomes happy, the end. I find it heavily ironic how it's impossible for a live streamer streaming Needy Streamer Overload to reach the happy ending, as that would require turning off your internet, which is not possible if you're currently using your internet to live stream the game. Really sums up the game's belief in about one sentence. Another ending with a similar premise is reached by gaining so many subscribers that Kangel becomes the most famous person on the entire planet. This is followed by a stream that is a scene-for-scene recreation of some random animated series' ending, in which everything blows up and dies. Only here
What the
it is
fuck?
the internet that blows up and dies, because too many people tried to join the live stream at once. The entire internet crashing forces everyone to go outside, at which point the game thanks you for your contribution to society. You cannot get more preachy than this if you tried. If you really wanted to, Needy Streamer Overload's core message could be simplified to 2 words: go outside. I think the reason there's no ending where Kangel rides off into the sunset and starts streaming from a space mansion is because that would undermine the game's message. The whole point of Needy Streamer Overload is that nothing good will come of chasing internet fame. If there was even one ending where Ame truly became happy by tying her self-worth to a number, then that would completely obliterate the rest of the game. It would be saying that acting extremely antisocial and being obsessed with numbers is okay, as long as you do it in this specific way. Ame's lifestyle being terrible is spelled out for us in the Galactic Express ending. I won't get into the details, but essentially, Ame dies, and because she's in the midst of dying, Kangel confesses every single one of her regrets to the viewer in a hallucinatory livestream. That being obsessed with the internet every day was like hell, admitting that the numbers never actually made her happy deep down. But most importantly, I was way too worried about how I appeared to others that no one saw me for how I was. Ame is infatuated with her public image. Her live streams are meticulously crafted so that every little detail gives you the impression that she's an angel without flaw. The background Kangel sits in front of every stream makes it look like she has a nice home that is well taken care of, when in reality, that could not be further from the truth. In a text message, Ame reveals that she only ever cleans the parts of her room that are visible on camera, never touching the rest of the room. Ame doesn't care about living in a clean space, she only cares about making others think that she does. We see this in the game's sequel song, Internet Yamero, where Kangel's room looks nice from the perspective of the TikTok before the video zooms out and we see just how much garbage was hiding right outside the view of the
Fucking
camera.
drugs or
You may be wondering why she cares this much about how Kangel appears to others. And to answer that, we have to go over the backstory of Needy Streamer Overload. But to do that, I have to reveal another plot twist, one that you might have already been able to pick up on. You, the player, are not real. There's this secret text file on the computer, which Ame would normally refuse to let you see, teleporting to your mouse cursor if you try to click on it. But in Data 0, she leaves the computer alone, which means you can finally open secret.txt, where it's revealed that Ame has the ability to just create and destroy you at will. Essentially, you're her imaginary friend, although you could have figured this out much earlier if you paid real close attention to all the little hints the game kept throwing at you. The two most notable examples both happen while live streaming. In I Am Jack's Desire to Watch Movies, Kangel mentions how one of her favorite films is Fight Club. And it's no accident, as in Fight Club, the main villain is revealed to be the main character's split personality, which is exactly what the player is to Ame in-game. After the stream, you get this message on Twitter. Hey, I thought about this when we watched that movie, but... actually, never mind. A much more obvious example is the final Chat and Chill stream, Imaginary Dreamers. You know imaginary friends, right? Yeah, some ingrown-ass people definitely shouldn't have. I had one as a kid, because I didn't have any actual friends. We had a lot of fun together. We were best friends. I don't think that's a very healthy way to think. Please go outside. Anyone ever think about why
Let's
imaginary
go
friends
outside.
disappear after you grow up? Like, what's wrong with adults being a little bit delusional too? Wait, maybe I... No, it can't be. So, I think it's finally time to go over the full story of Needy Streamer Overload. A process that was really difficult, as information about Ame's life before the internet is scattered throughout various text messages and live streams in the game, seemingly at complete random. Some pieces of lore are locked behind massive paragraphs that are only accessible on a very specific day if both affection and mental darkness are above 60. However, after putting it all together, this is my interpretation of what happens before the events of the game. Our story begins on the 5th of May 2002. We don't actually know the exact year, but around 2002 sounds about right. Ame is a girl who grew up poor. Like, really poor. Her parents were described as having no money at all. It's stated that Ame had some kind of disease or health problems, but she doesn't go any more specific than, my health used to be really bad, you know. It was so bad. Despite the dire circumstances though, her mother would stay by her side every night to make sure nothing bad would happen to her, so that she never had to feel alone. However, something seemed weird about her parents. Whenever Ame tried to talk to them about her interests, they wouldn't pay her any attention. Every time she tried to talk to them, they'd ignore her, almost like she was a nuisance to them. They'd just be like, yeah, and go back to whatever they were doing. School wasn't much better. Ame would get bullied for many reasons, one of the main ones being that she was stupid and messed up in the head. Because she had nothing and no one, Ame created an imaginary friend, someone who would actually pay attention to her and listen to what she had to say. Despite knowing it was a fanciful illusion, they were best friends. Soon though, she wouldn't need any imaginary friends because Ame would discover something much more real. The internet. The internet was a strange place because it was so different to the rest of the world. People online would actually care about what she had to say. The older Ame became, the more she hated adults. They're always so fake, she thought, pretending that they have no interests while never caring about anything outside of work. For this reason, she hated being at home. She hated being at school and holed up in her room with her computer to avoid all the adults in her life. There were also adults on the internet, but they were all true to themselves, not caring about what other people thought about their interests, freely being able to discuss topics that others might find socially unacceptable, unlike the adults outside. They were so free, so natural. Ame thought to herself, I want to live like that. I want to live on the internet and be true to myself. Unfortunately, life outside the internet began getting worse. Ame's parents would argue nearly every day, and many of these arguments would turn to physical fights. At one point, her mom tried throwing a knife at her dad. Ame was now terrified of being at home. The people who were supposed to protect her were trying to kill each other. She promised herself that when she grew up, she would get married to someone that would make her happy, unlike her parents. Eventually, the fights led to a divorce, but the fighting didn't stop. Instead, they were now fighting over who would get custody of her. It's implied that her mother won custody over her, although now being a single parent, her mother was running out of money. So in order to make ends meet, she tried forcing Ame into... It is at this point in the story that Ame runs away from home, hopping around to whoever in her social circles would take her in to avoid being homeless. Because of this, the bullying at school became much more extreme. She was even more of a target than before. At one point, Ame was afraid to enter class because of some unnamed prank they'd play on her when she'd go through the door. This next part has arguably nothing to do with this story because it's a message from a fan. However, this fan's situation is so suspiciously similar to Ame's that you can't help but feel like she wrote this and pretended it was from a fan. I had to go to a psychiatric hospital for a while, and because of that I've been falling behind in school a lot. I'm the only one in my year who still doesn't know what they want to do in life. Whenever my classmates talk about what university they want to get into, or what job they want to do, all I can do is stand and watch. It's making me feel so anxious. To avoid feeling ostracized, Ame stopped going to class entirely and quit before she could finish high school. After Ame quit school, she became so stressed about her future that she could never sleep. Her doctor prescribed pills for her to take, which she quickly became addicted to. A few years pass and what happens next is unclear, but there's two things that I think are for certain. For one, Ame somehow manages to find a place to stay, although the place is tiny and she's only allowed to stay for 10 days before rent is due. And two, because she was terrified of living alone, her imaginary friend returned. I still remember when I would cower in the darkness of my room and stare into space as the days drifted by. I would put my hands together and squeeze my eyes shut, thinking, what would it take for me to be saved? And then my wish was granted the very next day. That was the day I met you. It was like God had brought the two of us together. That's why now I am an angel that serves God. Although, something was off about them. I made things work by myself, but it's still not ideal. The current friend isn't bad, but I kind of can't deal with people only being nice to me. I'll just make a better one next time, one that's so dreamy that I'll never wake. And so she created a better friend, one that wouldn't be afraid to do evil things. This is the character you play at the start of the game. Ame then asks you to help her create the Kangel account, because in her own words, I started live streaming because I thought it would be fun. I wanted to live a life free from society and money and stupid adults and thinking about the future because those things are so boring.
Ah,
Bored.
what?
Bring out your fun side with Piatos.
That's it?
By this
Okay.
point, you may be thinking, wow, that had absolutely nothing to do with what happened in game. A lot of the focus of Needy Streamer Overload is the internet, live streaming, and parasocial relationships. Not anything to do with parental trauma or bullying. Like, none of this happens in the game. Her parents are barely a character. They are mentioned as existing once or twice, but we don't even get to know their names or anything about them. So you'd be forgiven for not knowing most of this because you have to go out of your way to learn Ame's backstory. Yet, I find it interesting how the game manages to connect Ame's past with the main themes of the game. Although Ame has the option to move on from her past and start a new life, she just regresses back into being terminally online. She would rather escape onto the internet as Kangel for short-term validation instead of making meaningful progress in life or focus on things that actually make her happy. Weirdly, she seems to be aware of this, which is where her reoccurring hatred of adults comes from. Ame is insecure about how little she's accomplished in life and therefore hates normal people with actual lives, finding it hypocritical that college students say their life is over when they find a stable job and get married a few years later. Her whole "I hate adults because they're so fake" is projection of the fact that Ame's current purpose in life is to be disingenuous on the internet, faking everything about Kangel out of fear that no one would accept her otherwise. This is also why Kangel matters so much to her, because live streaming is the only avenue she believes she could find success in, as the internet is also the only place that has had once accepted her. This is why one of her main goals as Kangel is to save the nerds on the internet and make sure no one else has to go through what she did. She wants to be the mother figure that once stayed by her side when she was younger, to give back to the one place she enjoys visiting. This is why Kangel visited her biggest fan, when normally she despises the sight of them, because Ame saw herself in this kid and didn't want them to feel neglected. Despite her noble intentions though, Kangel's channel may be causing more harm than good. Kangel never acknowledges this parasocial relationship on stream, instead insisting that everything her audience sees through the screen is real, and that she really does love them all despite the opposite being true. Ironically, despite wanting to save the nerds from their loneliness, she might actually be making them more lonely by forcing her audience to be reliant on this random internet girl for emotional support. Something that Ame is actually aware of and makes fun of in one of her private tweets. Remember, the only reason Ame found out about her biggest fan is because a video was shared of her screaming and crying wanting to meet Kangel. That doesn't sound like someone who is saved. That sounds like a kid who just learned that the person they see on screen isn't actually their friend. However, what I love about this game is that the commentary doesn't end there. Instead of leaving it at that, like it could have so easily done, the game digs deeper to show us the live streamer's perspective. Despite being a terrible influence to her audience, the person Kangel harms the most is Ame. Ame's addicted to her subscribers going up because it gives her the one thing the world never did: attention and approval. But just like with the real drugs in the game, it never truly makes her happy because it's vapid, temporary happiness. The parallels between the two are expanded upon in the second log you get by taking magic paper. I feel really good right now, but I'm scared of feeling too good, if that makes sense. Cause like your brain is designed to reward you with feel-good chemicals proportionate to what you achieve, right? Skipping over that and making yourself feel really good with barely any effort would fuck you up. That's what scares me. Sometimes I feel like, am I even allowed to feel this happy? Shouldn't I earn my happiness through streaming and hosting things for my viewers? What would my fans think of me if they saw me like this? This fear manifests itself in a number of interesting ways. One example is the final gaming stream, where Kangel plays through the 2001 visual novel,
I am drawing emotes.
a
Wait
game
lang.
in which the main character hallucinates an
She's like
ordinary
recording.
girl as an
No.
angel. When Kangel reaches this part of the game, her mood
This is my
completely
progress
shifts,
from
almost like it hit
like
too
20
close
minutes
to
ago.
home.
Yeah.
Oh. The protagonist just
Please.
called one of the main girls an angel.
There are also some parts na parang,
She
oh,
looks like a normal
it's just
girl
like
to
me
me, but the
too.
protagonist sees her as an angel. I see.
Kinda hurts
I
though.
guess it makes sense. I know I'm already an angel and you all see me as an angel, but suddenly she goes back to happy
continue
mode
draw.
and quickly wraps everything up before ending the stream. It's such a small, seemingly insignificant detail, yet with adequate context reveals so much about Ame's character. The reason this moment from the game disturbs her is the same reason she's afraid of feeling too happy. She's afraid of what people would think if they found out Kangel was a lie. If her fans found out that behind the cute angel persona is some loser who's addicted to drugs. Let me tell you about a reoccurring dream I have. Everyone realizes my whole existence was a lie. Then, everything turns red with blood. I feel this is not a dream, but a premonition. Everything I've built up, brick by brick, will come crashing down by my own hand. True to her
That's a
word,
little
there is an
chewy, to be
ending where
honest.
this happens. Painful Future is unlocked after completing 4 breakdown streams. Streams where Ame's addiction is at its worst. Taking more than the recommended amount of pills unlocks the first breakdown stream, where Ame gets the idea to stream while high. Initially, this doesn't seem like a bad idea, but like everything in this game, it eventually spirals into insanity until the last breakdown stream where you must smoke magic grass, causing Ame to realize she can't do this anymore. The one you all love is the internet angel, not me, not the true me. No one truly understands me. I'm going to put an end to my misery. I'm going to put an end to everything. I'll be streaming soon. No wig, no costume, nothing. You'll all come by to
Nothing!
see me, right? I'm not going to pretend that this stream isn't incredibly funny out of context. Ame smokes weed on camera without saying a word on a stream called I Am Legend. But it starts to become sad once you consider what's really happening. Ame is so afraid of being found out that she intentionally exposes herself before anyone else can, as a way of saying, look at how imperfect I am, look at how horrible and terrible I really am, I'm addicted to weed, stop watching me. Considering what she is doing is illegal, she's likely to get arrested after this stream, sabotaging her real self to take out Kangel. On Breakdown Stream 1, Kangel asks her audience if they would still be nice to her if she got arrested. At the beginning of the game, when Ame foreshadows all the possible scenarios that could happen to her, getting arrested is the one thing that noticeably doesn't happen in the game. So I have to imagine it happens here, especially since one of the chat members called the police.
Call the
The game then
police!
kicks you in the gums, as an unknown number of days is skipped until a thread gets posted asking people if they remember Kangel. Except, instead of hating her for lying to the audience, everyone here actually misses her. Ame spends the whole game worrying about whether her audience actually likes her or not, fearing the worst if Kangel got exposed. Yet when that actually happens, no one seems to mind. People will still support her even after they find out the whole Angel livestreamer shtick was an act. Unfortunately, Ame will never see her fans' reaction to this final stream, because if she hasn't returned after all this time, then she's either in prison or dead. I think the fear of not being accepted is the reason Ame gets so stressed from streaming. She can't tell if the audience actually cares for her or if they're just watching the streams to see Kangel. It's the same reason she abruptly ends the 5th gaming stream. The visual novel reminded her that people only watch her live streams to watch Kangel, because none of her viewers see her as she is. This is further supported
not
by looking at the
true.
streams that stress her out the most.
Pag-attend
The
lang ng
slowly
Anicon.
following Twitch guidelines
Oh,
streams.
remember you.
Nothing inappropriate is ever shown as to stay on the website, but it's all implying something. All the while Kangel has to pretend to be completely oblivious of what she is doing, as that is the easiest way to get subscribers. However, that growth comes at a huge cost, as she's basically guaranteeing that the audience will only watch her for superficial reasons. She's just gained a bunch of subscribers that don't actually care for her, hence the high amount of stress received by doing these streams. And this presents Ame with another problem once Kangel gets popular. If the whole point of this streaming account was to gain the affection and love of 1 million people, what happens when those 1 million people love Kangel and not Ame? Her channel growth is inherently shallow, as the nice comments she wants to receive won't even be directed at her. They'll be directed at the fictional Kangel. It's like a curse. She has the love and approval of 1 million people, but not one of those 1 million people will ever understand her. No matter how many subscribers Ame gets, the number of people who like the real her will always remain the same. She can never be sure if her fans love her for the person she is, or if they love her for the content she creates. The internet has brought everyone closer together, except it has also put a lot of people further apart. There's little incentive to just be yourself online, as every social media out there, especially these ones, reward you for being who everyone else wants you to be, instead of being who you want to be. This is basically how Ame acts as a character up until the final true ending. After reaching every other ending in the game, you unlock Data Zero, a save file where Ame decides to make her own choices instead of listening to what you have to say, literally speedrunning the entire game by herself as a metaphor for her not needing the player anymore. Throughout the game, Ame is miserable because no one in her life ever accepted her. Yet by spending all that time trying to make others love her, she only ever makes her life worse. In the true ending though, the person who was supposed to love Ame was Ame herself. She overcomes the desire for approval by accepting who she is and becoming her own best friend rather than expecting someone else to do that for her. And that's it. That's the end. After that, Ame leaves the screen and moves on with her life, leaving you with nothing else to do. The game doesn't end. You can sit here for as long as you like, but nothing else will happen. The game just waits for you to do the same.
Oh.
There is a saying on 4chan that goes, remember, you are here forever. It's a meme referring to users that would always try to quit, but be active on the boards the very next day. And it also serves as a reminder that anything you do or say online is there forever and can resurface at any time, for better or for worse. And this sentiment is ever more true of Nianners and her odd relationship with 4chan. Nianners is indeed not new to the internet. Having been active there for over a decade, she has left quite a sizable digital footprint and her mark on the internet culture, as well as has reached some of the highest ceiling of success as a micro-influencer. When YouTube was just the marginal ooze, Nianners was there, gathering her strength. Today she enjoys a comfortable success, but the road has not been without its challenges. The internet can test you in ways you've never imagined, and Nianners was forged in the fires of it. She herself has said that she had been browsing 4chan as young as 11 years old. Through consistent exposure, she rapidly adapted to unconventional humor and grew desensitized to a wide range of topics. She most frequently visited /A anime and manga boards. She adopted the name Nianners as a diminutive of her username NianyaXOXO.
This is actually the origin of my name. I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a troll account and troll all these Naruto fans. So I made a fucking like Tango account, and my name was like Nyan Nyan something, with like a picture of like a cat girl. And my thing was like, I'm gonna go in there and talk like an obnoxious weeaboo chick and like troll everybody. And I went in there to troll for the first few days, but then I actually ended up like talking to the like Naruto RPers seriously and becoming their friend.
Through her involvement in those communities, she gained the assurance necessary to embark on her own content creation journey on YouTube. At this time, she first experimented with voice acting and singing through boards on 4chan with bizarre satirical readings of hentai panels. Her first video is called Stapler Stan and is based on this concept.
Thank you, Stapler Son. Hooray! With this, Sensei will see how smart and talented I am. He might even give me a kiss. I even used the stapler all by myself.
Gusto mo kiss
Yes!
from your teacher? What?
You goddamn asshole!
Or maybe it's just me.
That's when she released the cover of Moon Man, a controversial song with the frequent use of the hard N-word. And subsequently Pomf Pomf, which is a song about a lolly with heavy sexual depictions and a direct reference to a popular lolicon Doshinji. That song became incredibly popular and in a month accumulated 500,000 views. I believe Nianners' goal of making edgy, shocking, or suggestive content was made to be humorous. This song definitely fits the context of the time with its edgy satire humor. This song basically reached meme icon. Whether or not audiences understood its implication or not, people literally had this on their soundboards. Heck, even today, several VTubers still sing this song.
Sing an idol song for me right now.
Idol.
Give me some Moe Moe Q.
Okay.
Yeah, ready? Everyone's counting on me to cheer them up and give them lots of energy. I hope I can help them study for their tests. I'll work hard to support them and always try my best.
Problem is, while this song garnered her tremendous growth and the attention of an audience, it also attracted the wrong kind of attention, which Nianners would slowly grow to dislike. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Nianer's iconic pink-haired catgirl character was born on May 13, 2012. In June of the same year, Nianers received 2 artworks depicting her as this character. The first one was utilized in Ken Ashcorp's A Song for Nianer's Birthday, and another created by Pickerney was later used to illustrate Nia Nianer's Anutaloid voice synthesis trained on Nianer's singing voice in the Tsukema Tsukeru cover. Her proximity with 4chan had its advantage and disadvantages. The advantage being is that when they love you, 4chan can be a very dedicated fan base. She felt like she belonged there and also got to be part of a community and make
I
friends
belong
such as
in
Lily
4chan.
Pichu, Ken
Oh
Ashcorp,
my
and
God.
later on even Senzawa. Yeah, it's crazy how small the world is and how all of these people are still active on the internet to this day. Now, for the disadvantage of 4chan is that there's a wide brush of people there, and that also
Why?
means a variety of opinion, but also proximity with less savory characters. Nianers got harassed and had numerous posts about her threatening essay and had fake nudes of her spread, which made it so she
know.
engaged less and less with her audience. She posted on her WordPress blog about her struggles.
Rumors about me just keep growing and growing, and I feel so helpless. I try to do things to clear up misunderstandings, but it only makes things worse. I try to just have fun
Anything but
and remember that a lot of people are rooting for me, but that doesn't stop all the bad feelings that keep turning around inside of me. I always feel like I'm just letting everyone down, and like I could never do anything right. I'll always be nothing but an attention whore in most people's eyes. I'm worthless. People say this is the kind of stuff you'll just have to deal with when you get even a tiny bit popular. Does it ever feel any better than this? I started out with just one main goal, to make people happy. If I could brighten up people's days just by putting my silly recordings online, that would be enough to keep me going. I keep trying to remind myself that aside from wanting to become a real voice actress someday and improve as much as I can with the criticism I receive, I really want to make people happy. I spent so much time and energy replying to every message, trying to finish every request, trying so hard to be as happy and energetic as I could at all times, just so I could make other people happy, that I forgot about the most important thing, taking care of myself. I want to start over sometimes. Stuff like this has been really weighing me down recently. I break down and cry because I feel like I can't handle anything.
As Nianers approached her 18th birthday, she embarked on her college journey, marking the beginning of her formative years. In 2011, the situation became more intense with the Video Game Awards, an event that sparked outrage among individuals due to its heavy reliance on e-celebrities. It's basically a meme award show voiced by Nianers herself.
Blunder of the year. We're setting a new standard for failure.
Stalkers then identified Nianer's real-life identity and doxed her. The situation escalated when people started to spam her social media accounts and went as far as calling her home and leaving threatening calls to her family members. This went on for
Yes, I
3
know with her
years before they
sister,
moved
oh.
on. During those years, we can see endless threads dissing Nianers on 4chan. It eventually escalated into people desecrating her sister's grave and
That
went as
one.
far as to
That's-
send her
that's-
photos of
that's
it.
fucked
There are
up.
logs about her conversation with some of these perpetrators where she seems surprisingly calm but genuinely confused at the hate directed towards her. Not only that, but then these aunties repeatedly filed false copyright claims on all of her videos, leading her to being unjustly banned from YouTube for an entire
Yeah.
week. These events
mean,
would deeply
doxing
mark
alone
Nianers and mark a
is-
pivotal point in
yeah,
how
it's a
she started to
crime.
view
It's
certain
already a
ideologies.
crime.
As time passed and insults and pressure mounted,
Nahanap
she
pa nila
gradually
yung
began
dead
to
sister
withdraw
niya.
from those around her, including her close friends such as Lily Pichu, creating a distance between herself and the world. It's good to note she seems on good terms with Lily Pichu nowadays. They sometimes mention each other during their live stream. She even met Lily Pichu IRL, but Lily didn't know it was her due to her being a VTuber most of the time.
I did shake hands with Lily, and I did introduce myself as my real life name, and she had no idea who I was, and I felt so bad.
After these events, Nianers probably had enough of 4chan and decided to symbolically cross the floor all the way over to Tumblr, which was at the time caught in a culture war and was directly opposed to 4chan in terms of views and ideologies. There was even a point in time where both social media websites managed to bring each other's servers down with DDoS attacks. During this era, there was a discernible shift towards more socially acceptable content. She deleted some of her old content, such as Moonman, and took down Pomp Pomp, writing a lengthy post to explain the reasons why.
I took down Pump for good. It's the worst video I've ever made, and I've never liked it, or how it garnered the attention of a lot of unsavory types of people who make me very uncomfortable, and it's just plain gross and offensive most of all. I made the song parody when I was 16 and ignorant. It was meant to satirize a horrible doujin that became an unfunny meme at the time, and not meant to be some kind of shitty internet lolicon anthem at all. But people took it that way, and that's not what I stand for or condone. I wish I hadn't kept it up for so long, because of peer pressure, and I'm really sorry for making it in the first place. I've grown and realized that it was a really gross video to make, parody or not, and I hate that it has enforced a certain mentality in some of my fans. That I must think lolicon is cute or acceptable in any way, which in turn reinforces their own gross beliefs, or makes people think it's okay because I think it's okay. It doesn't matter if they're just cartoons. They're children and that's that. I'm not gonna argue about it. Sexual abuse, and especially sexual abuse of children, is not something to make light of, and I do not approve of any of my fans proclaiming themselves as lolicons or acting like it's some cutesy anime term that isn't rooted in disgusting, pedophilic crap. I've wanted to take this video down for years, and I'm so glad I finally did it because it's not something I want to be associated with me anymore. It makes people uncomfortable and it's hurtful, and gives people the impression that I'm okay with that kind of stuff when I'm not. I have over 100,000 subscribers now, and a lot of people look up to me. Most of them are as young and impressionable as I was when I uploaded that awful video. So I absolutely cannot set a bad example for all of them. If anyone has any problem with me taking the video down, feel free to unsubscribe. I'm so happy that I finally got rid of that piece of trash.
The harsh and definitive language she employed in her statement reinforced the impression that she was utterly rejecting her past. The removal of her viral video significantly contributed to the negative sentiment and criticism directed towards Neanners by her audience to this day. Some speculate that the shift in her content was motivated by a desire to move away from edgy content, which was declining in popularity. And maybe the environment was gravitating towards more brand-safe content, but honestly, she had more to lose doing so than sticking with it. After all, she lost fans for it and got harassed even more. It seems most of her edgy content was made as an impressionable young girl that just wanted to fit in. That and her awful experience with the doxing and harassment she received, it's also possible that her content did attract some people that grossed her out and people that were into that kind of content for all the wrong reasons. For example, there is an instance on her Tumblr where she mentioned that some quote-unquote bad people were attracted to her work, which would corroborate this theory, especially if she was indeed underage at the time and had people tell her this kind of comments. I could then understand the kind of psychological effect that would have on someone, which would make them do a 180 in terms of content and ideologies. On February 13th, 2015, she replied to a user with a lengthy post reflecting on her engagement on 4chan.
And then I
Hi, this really cheers me up. You have no idea.
An allergy
I was just like you, believe it or not. I browsed 4chan since I was 11 years old, and it pretty much shaped who I was and how I acted, and the people I associated with for most of my recent life. It was very unhealthy for me. I was taken advantage of a lot from when I was 13 up until 17 by guys I met who browsed the boards I frequented. I just wanted to be cool like them. I felt like that was the only way I would be accepted, and I felt like I couldn't make friends otherwise. I went through a phase where I was just super insufferable and unfunny, and I couldn't be true to who I was on the inside, I guess. Because I put up this front of being this edgy internet girl who isn't like other girls. It's a pretty small aspect of how I changed myself to suit these people I hung out with and 4chan culture, but I would even stop using emoticons a lot, except for the semicolon phase, because that was the only one 4chan liked. Because 4chan deemed them uncool. But fuck that. Emoticons are cute. If you're having a casual conversation, why not throw a couple of these in? I even used to dislike feminism because of all the regurgitated nonsense that people would spew all over the boards and how my friends always made fun of feminists. But then I grew up and realized that they were being immature and ignorant. I was so afraid to express myself in my opinions because I knew that they weren't cool. It was pretty much like being in a high school clique, except online and with a lot of disgruntled, lonely, anonymous posters. 4chan was like my home for a while when I was little. That's so fucked up in hindsight. My parents would have killed me if they saw the kind of stuff I was looking at and reading. Because I felt like an outcast. And all of these people on 4chan were self-described outcasts, so I felt like I fit in there. But as I grew and made friends who were actually nice people who cared about me, I realized that I didn't have to put on an act anymore. Surrounding yourself with people who love you for you is the best thing ever. And it feels so very good to grow out of icky phases in your life, like a bug shedding its skin. I'm so glad that I can help people, because when I was younger, I would have loved to have a good role model like that. I probably would have grown up a lot sooner. Sorry for being so long-winded though, and thank you.
Critics scrutinized her words and pointed out inconsistencies, such as her claim of being 16 when she started her YouTube channel, but contradicting statements on the channel indicated that she was 18. Things then got a bit quieter for Neanners and her content hype slowed down as she mellowed out. However, fate had something special in store for her, as events were about to take an unexpected turn for the better. In 2020, the VTuber boom swept across the internet, and among those who joined the wave was the enigmatic and captivating VTuber Neanners. This marked a significant shift in her career as it proved to be a massively successful move. Neanner's first stream as a VTuber garnered an impressive audience of over 1,000 viewers.
Hello, everybody.
Her unique blend of humor, wit, and engaging personality quickly resonated with viewers, and her popularity skyrocketed. Within a month, she had amassed over 100,000 followers on Twitch and 200,000 followers on October just 3 months later, solidifying her status as one of the most popular VTubers in the world. Neanner's meteoric rise caught the attention of Gunrun, the CEO of VShojo, the first North American-based VTuber agency. After discussing with Project Melody, another prominent VTuber, Gunrun decided to co-found VShojo, aiming to create a platform that would support and nurture VTubers in the Western market. Neanners was brought on board as part of VShojo's inaugural generation, alongside other talented VTubers such as Project Melody and Iron Mouse. If you would like to know more about these topics, I recommend watching my videos on Project Melody or Iron Mouse. Joining VShojo provided Neanners with a supportive community and a network of like-minded individuals. She continued to produce captivating content, including ASMR streams, gaming sessions, and collaborations with other VTubers. Notably, she participated in a collab with the Yakuza game Like a Dragon made by Sega, as well as hosted a $10,000 hide-and-seek tournament with the participations of other VTubers. Neanner's humor, creativity, and dedication to her craft further endeared her to her fans, and she quickly became one of the most recognizable VTubers in North America. This provided her with a fresh start, forging new friendships along the way. The once edgy humor had mellowed out and became less abrasive. Comedic innuendos, internet wisdom, and meme culture expertise finally came to fruition and found their place in the world of VTubers. Every skill that Neanners had been honing since such a young age finally paid off. Her voice acting, her knowledge of anime, her comedic lewdness, and her embracing of cringe moments all came together to form a great virtual entertainer. An example of this is how she went about reaching her 1 million milestone. In 2021, after creating a skit in which she was executed by YouTube for failing to reach 1 million subscribers, she was replaced in her stream by a new clone. This clone had golden eyes instead of purple eyes and lacked familiarity with wife stealing. This event resulted in a surge of 7,000 new subscribers for Neanners that day. Subsequently, on January 2nd, she reached the long-awaited milestone of 1 million subscribers. On January 8th, Neanners' video titled "What Really Happened on That Fateful Day" was uploaded. In this video, she disclosed that she managed to survive after deflecting the bullet, but still
Hi,
met her
Rocky.
demise.
I'm
On
doing
January
emotes.
16th, Neanners held a YouTube live streams to celebrate reaching 1 million
I'm now in the
subscribers.
celebrate
The stream drew an impressive
emote
peak
now.
of 12,000 viewers. During this stream, a surprising revelation was made. The original Natasha Neanner survived by resorting to drinking her own urine.
Yeah.
Rising fame, the inevitable
I don't need to
scrutiny
know
around her
that.
popularity resurfaced, and people delved into her
Oh yeah,
past once
tail.
more. Shortly after her
Forgot to
1
do the
million subscriber
tail.
celebration, she was invited to join Kizuna Ai's first virtual US store, which sparked backlash once more. Due to her open admiration for
Tail.
Lolly, Kizuna Ai's collaboration with Neanners ignited criticism from Neanners detractors.
ねえ見て見てなんででも可愛い表情なんですよロリッコ一部ではロリダークソウルとも呼ばれているとかいないとかめちゃくちゃ可愛いあ待ってこの角度いいですねパンツじゃなくてもいいですよあとロリコンなんだよね
あ、そうですね。はい。そこまで知れ渡ってるんだ。
They
They are
labeled her as a
lolicons.
hypocrite for the announcement, which she had proclaimed as a big dream of hers.
Something really cool, and it's pretty much like a big dream of mine. I'm really excited.
Her voice
and
kinda
shocked,
sounded like
and
Shia Lily.
I
What the
still
hell?
don't know how to process it. I'm gonna be a guest at a concert
Yippee!
with Kizuna Ai.
Her then decision to ban the word lolly from Discord reignited the conversation, and the same old arguments and rumors that had been plaguing her resurfaced once more. She then made a follow-up Discord post to clarify her stance.
People took that post to mean that I am anti any kind of lolly or petite character design, or that you're not allowed to think they're cute. I was referring to pornographic material involving child characters, which was what the edgy
There are
meme was
times
about.
that Twitter is,
And to be
if
fair,
not Twitter,
Discord has
internet
been
is just
backing down
stupid.
servers
My
pausing lolly
god.
imagery, including gacha servers such as Blue Archive. It's a smart move to have a rule against
Blue
this type of
Archive
content to
mention,
avoid
oh.
getting your Discord server nuked. I don't know about banning the word itself, but this is especially important if you're under a corporation where your actions
Oh,
can reflect on the company
yeah,
you
true.
work for. In
She's in
2021,
this show,
a
dyan niya pala.
collaboration between Neanners, Bebe, and Takanashi Kiara sparked controversy as some fans got defensive and tried to convince Kiara not to collaborate with them. The collaboration waiting room itself was met with massive downvotes, which later got partially purged, leading to speculation that YouTube had removed the dislikes for them. However, it is important to clarify that YouTube does not intentionally remove dislikes for any individuals. Any disappearance of dislike is likely due to a technical issue, YouTube removing likes they believe are botted or spam, or even bugs within the YouTube platform. Similarly, Vebe received backlash for her potential collab with Kiara, as some users decided to dig up an old rant of Vebe on Hololive and got really defensive about their Oshi collabing with her.
A lot of you know that Kiara from Hololive has been wanting to collab with me, and now there are people they're bringing up my.
Why do they sound like
rant. It was
Shia Lily?
from, last year, where I ranted about cover. I ranted about cover not being fair to their talent. That has nothing to do with me not supporting talent. I love Kiara. I watch Hololive. Alright, when I went on a rant, it was during the Mano thing and the Taiwan thing. And I'm not gonna stand down and apologize for it.
Vebe had to cancel the collab, which made rumors fly even more, and Neanners then stated that she wasn't willing to do the collab without Vebe, as she had been added to the trio because of her.
For reasons that I won't get into, we can't do the collab, and I would feel really bad. I would feel guilty if I did the collab, went ahead and did the collab without Vei, cause I don't know, it was basically her collab first, and I just got roped into it because they were really nice.
But then Kiara finally went live a week later to clarify that it was indeed happening, except only with Neanners, no matter what the haters thought.
Let me just say the collab with the cute pink cat is back on track.
Her overlay is so cute.
They
I
are,
wanna copy it.
deciding
Ang
on
ganda.
Once the collab finally happened, it was actually a wild success, and it reached a peak of 40,000 viewers who tuned in to watch the two of them. In 2021, another event that really riled up her aunties was when her Nekopara Volume 2 collab was announced. Nekopara Volume 2 is a visual novel that can be played either as a safe-for-work version that is completely PG-13 or as an adult version that is R-rated. This work is based on Sayori's Doshinji and Catgirl works, which is a hentai. After streaming it twice, she decided to cancel the collab,
Nekopara.
claiming she's not super
Oh.
comfortable with it, and a clear emphasis on
Thunder.
how unambiguously young the characters were depicted.
I forgot the best part of this game. I forgot is whenever I forgot how the creator, the writer, loves to say small, tiny, small, young, fragile, like anything. Like he helped her on the chair in a small, childlike way.
Stop it!
Naturally, the online communities responded with outrage. Initially, they criticized Neanners for participating in a game that sexualized catgirls, but then they labeled her a hypocrite for subsequently canceling collaborations. Make up your mind. Alternatively, it's possible that Neander's decision to cancel the collaboration was prompted by criticism received either from external sources or even from her own fanbase. Due to these events and the one mentioned in the beginning of the video, her critics have labeled her a grifter, accusing her of hypocrisy for turning her back on the lolly culture that once quote-unquote made her. Indeed, Neanners was once known for making overly perverse gag videos and musical covers, but now she condemned it. What really triggered her critics is that she now uses what they claim to be a lolly type character for her VTuber avatar, whilst making the same perverted jokes all the while using a lolly-esque voice. And to that I'll argue that it's not a voice she's putting on, but her real voice. She has a naturally high-pitched and soft-spoken voice.
I was worried that it would be too big, but it fits perfectly. Please don't take that out of context. Welcome to my fart fetish stream. Poo poo pee pee. Haha, funny monkey. Is Pepto-Bismol a sauce? Oh no, I just flooded my hole! So much liquid just flowed in. Cute anime girl sleeping ASMR. I'm horny, 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 horny.
Now, whether her model is lolly or not is subjective and will differ from person to person. But is Neanners really a hypocrite, or did she just change her mind? Neanners doesn't really deny her past involvement in lolly content, but acknowledges that it was a mistake. It's unreasonable to hold someone accountable for actions or beliefs they had over a decade ago, particularly in an era where social media documents almost everything. And perhaps there is a bigger discussion to be had about when it's appropriate to exhume old posts and belief from someone who has clearly changed. There needs to be a way for people to be able to grow without always being held accountable for the stuff they did years ago. Within reasonable measures, of course. I'm excluding
But then again,
crimes
it's
here.
the internet.
That being said,
Internet's
she
so
could have
weird.
washed her hands off her old content without insulting those who remained behind in the process, and that would have probably been a better move optics and PR-wise. But hey,
Labat na yung eye pencil
I don't
ko.
necessarily agree with her statement, but given the
No.
traumatic events she went through as a minor, I understand why she got there. Amidst her tenure at VShojo, Neanners found herself entangled in yet another controversy, arguably the most significant one, involving Nuxtaku. While this topic deserves a dedicated video, I'll provide a quick overview here, focusing on the aspect of Neanners' involvement relevant to this story. For context, VShojo and Nux have a long-standing history that dates back to the very beginning of VShojo's inception. VShojo and Nux have often collaborated together, and his contribution have played a significant role in the early growth of some of its VTubers. In October 2021, fake VShojo emails were sent to two unaffiliated VTubers in order to solicit personal data, one of them being Nux. Nux contacted VShojo to verify this, and they informed Nux of an ongoing investigation behind the scene. Along with Murahar, Nux found out the name of the perpetrator and released a video about it on November 21st, 2021. This and the continued uptime of the video upset VShojo members who partly were under the assumption that he had been asked not to do this and asked him to take down the video as they feared that it would harm their safety as it would reveal the methods used to catch the perpetrator. On Twitter, multiple VShojo members openly expressed their disappointment and concerns to Nux. In a private message on her Discord server, Neanners revealed that Nux allegedly took credit for an entire year's worth of work done by VShojo's cybersecurity team. Furthermore, Neanners expressed concerns about the video's handling, stating that it included potentially hazardous and confidential information that should have been treated with greater care and sensitivity. She then accused Nux of regularly exploiting her friends for clickbaits in his video, and on one occasion, she alleged that he recorded a conversation with a friend without their consent, intending to use it as content for his video, and also expressed concern
Again
that
with the
Nux did not
recording shit.
prioritize her friend's safety and emotional well-being in these situations. She
Why
ends by
people
adding
do
that
those? That's
responding
weird.
publicly draws even more attention to it, so I have to choose between sitting quietly and seeing him receive pats on the back for coming to our rescue, when his video could encourage even more harassment. We're calling him out and hoping he retracts what he said and takes the video down before it gains more traction. If he wanted to actually protect people, he could have made a general PSA video about how to keep your information safe online, or warn people about things like the fake Vishojo email situation in a way that didn't reveal a ton of unneeded sensitive information, and paint himself as a hero. He doesn't care about helping us. If he did, he would have listened to several of our concerns when it came to how he treats people and uses them for content. This video ultimately makes things worse for us. Anything for views though, I guess. My heart goes out to everyone else who was affected by any harassment, and please be careful with giving out your information online. She then added 2 more statements to that one and revealed that her and her family had been receiving harassment all throughout the year, which she had to keep secret as to not disrupt the investigation, which might explain her heavy disappointment with the public release of the video. She then reiterated that Nux had been repeatedly told not to release the video, yet still did. As community involvement grew and pressure intensified, internal conflicts erupted. In response, Nux privated his video. However, the damage had already been done. Content creators both within and outside of the VTuber community condemned his actions, and Nux faced a barrage of backlash. Nux responded to the controversy, first by privating his video, then with a tweet longer where he provided his perspective on the situation. Following his post, Vishojo released another response attempting to clarify additional details and provide further context. In his apology video, he clarified that he had discussed the matter with higher-ups and the Department of Cybersecurity, and they had approved his decision. Additionally, the official Vishojo Twitter account had previously expressed gratitude for his video. This suggested a potential misalignment between the information known to the girls and the rest of the Vishojo department. Vishojo's blog post, intended to provide clarity regarding the recent situation, inadvertently left netizens feeling even more perplexed. The instructions given to Nux by Vishojo's representatives lacked clarity, contributing to the confusion surrounding the
Watching na
matter.
sana ako.
Eventually, all
Nawala.
parties involved apologized, and Neanders put out 2 subsequent tweets, apologizing publicly and providing further clarifications. After that, everyone moved on, but it left a bitter aftertaste and divided the fandom. While this event just seemed like a huge misunderstanding, Vishojo faced significant criticism for their perceived silence during a time where independent VTubers were at risk from swatting incidents. Many expressed dissatisfaction with Vishojo's overall handling of the situation, leading to a backlash against the organization. To this day, this is still a topic that draws criticism towards Nux, but especially Neanders, who was rumored to be a main instigator, despite only posting in her supporters' Discord channel. Despite these setbacks, Neanders continued to grow in notoriety and even made headlines with a particularly memorable stream in July 2022 where she milked herself on stream.
What
A
the
bizarre
fuck?
yet hilarious moment that cemented her status as a grade A shitposter. By January 2023, she had amassed a staggering 1 million Twitch followers and revealed several beautiful new models and outfits throughout her career, such as the Commander Cat, the meme-worn VTuber model, and the Ghost Witch outfit. Each model looking more and more mature, perhaps reflecting her personal growth. And in a moment of accidental honesty, she outed her relationship with a fellow streamer, Lord Ethelstan, during a Final Fantasy X collab stream in April 2022, an event later dubbed Babegate.
Oh fucking god.
No, I'm sorry. Someone told you to go the other way. I'm sorry, babe. I mean,
Lol.
Neander's time with Vishojo was filled with memorable moments, but in April 2023, she announced she would be leaving the company after not renewing her contract.
I am no longer with Vishojo. I am independent now. I decided in recent times that it was time for me to make a decision, and I definitely took it incredibly seriously. I weighed every pro, every con of every single path that I could possibly take, and I ultimately decided that it's best for me personally
to return to being Andy.
Today, Nianer seems to be thriving as she is enjoying a fulfilling life with her boyfriend, Lord Ethelstan, who, judging by their hilarious shared moments, is a perfect match for her. Their collabs are particularly wholesome and incredibly funny. Honestly, they cook with those jokes.
Name the dog Niji Sanji? Well, we're just gonna have to get rid of him in 2 weeks, man.
Yeah, and replace him with a different dog.
He's gonna be mad at the pet food we give him and leave in 2 weeks, bro. I want to keep this motherfucker around, man.
Yeah. We're gonna only be giving him like 10% of the pet food.
It is clear that after all this rocky road,
Why?
Nianers
Poor
has finally
doggy.
found her happy place. Now, I know that I could have easily crafted an entire video essay dedicated to the Pink Cat Bad narrative, and I'm sure it would have garnered a ton of views. Honestly, when I first started researching Nianers, that's what I expected to find. But a lot of important context has been lost in the past when this discourse has been brought up, which I hope this video helped shed some light and nuance on. Let's not forget, after all, that the same person they criticized so much is the girl who fell into tears after hugging Iron Mouse in a VR chat stream for being able to meet and touch her friend for the very first time.
Are you crying?
You wouldn't get it.
One of the most emotional moments I've witnessed on a stream ever. Moments
VR
like this
chat.
prove that not everything is so black and white and that we're all constituted of different shades of gray. No pun intended there. No reference to 50 Shades of Grey was intended there. Torn between two worlds at exact opposites, the edgy anime boys and the idol VTuber culture, Nianers navigated a world that is relentless in its search for perfection. Perhaps her biggest crime was to be too damn human. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, make sure to like, subscribe, and whether you agree or not with the points brought forward, make sure you leave a comment in the description below. And for even more monthly content, make sure to check out my Patreon and gain access to the last 4 months of content immediately. Until next time, it's on the internet.
Oh no. Skip.
Lethal Company is like an Easter egg hunt on a minefield. If that minefield was also located on a shooting range. Inside of a haunted house, crawling with monsters. With the scariest monster of all being the crushing demands of capitalism.
Is this what minimum wage is like in the United States?
As a $10 game made by a furry in his basement, I am morally obligated to play it. So
Oh yeah, I almost completely forgot that.
Of course, Heidi
The one who created
I know I'm late to the party.
Little Company's a furry.
But I can assure you,
So what? Good job. Good for him.
Worse.
Hey, Bada, does this sound like an air horn to you?
And if you don't mind, I'm just gonna yap about it for 40 minutes because I'm dying to tell you why I'm in love with this YouTube poop of a game that outsold Call of Duty.
I really do love going to work.
To warn you in advance, this video is sponsored by Swouse. My brand
Also
new
a
merch
Roblox
collection
thing.
on sale for a limited time, but I'm not gonna tell you
I
about
heard
it for
of
like
it
8 more
na.
minutes because I don't want to
Before
interrupt the story.
Little, it's just in
So let's get
Roblox.
started. Okay, so there's this company
I
called
don't
The
play
Company that puts a
Roblox.
metaphorical gun to your
I
head
did
and gives you
once.
two choices. Make money for the
The
company,
game that I play in Roblox is Bee Swarm Simulator. I like it.
Your second option is summary execution by the company.
It's a game that you can play while in a VC with friends. Ayun, paikot-ikot ka na sa Bee Swarm.
Is called quota, and it doesn't matter how silly or how scary things get, it is the only thing that matters.
Hey, what's up, man? You know you're gonna be summarily executed into the void of space if you don't get a quota, right?
This may seem like just another boring 5-letter word, Q-U-O-T-A, who cares? But the more you play this game, the more you realize it is so much more than that. You will
I'm
experience
right.
horrors beyond your comprehension.
Excuse me for my sneezy, snussy nose.
You will betray your
Cute
best
lang ako.
friends in the name of quota.
Shut up about your kitten subs. Shut up. Okay, fuck you, it's getting you, it's getting you, dog.
May sipon na ako ngayon.
Hear me loud and clear, and I mean loud and
Ah.
clear when I say it's
Allergies.
quota or die. Quota is achieved by stealing.
I'm just drawing,
repurposing
so
random junk
I
from, quote,
draw.
abandoned industrialized moons that I can assure you were abandoned for a reason.
What the Sigma?
Ah,
This
yes.
crap, officially called
Go
scrap, is
spam
fantastic
the
because it
readings.
makes
It's okay.
absolutely no sense.
What makes no sense is this nuclear-powered reactor I'm holding is worth less than a rubber ducky.
A jar of pickles
Oh.
can be worth more
What?
than an engine, and a lamp can be worth more than a nuclear reactor. Even the bodies of your dead teammates technically have a value, and in case you weren't already depressed, each and every one of you is worth 5 whole credits.
Why does this game's economy let you trade 5 human beings for a jar of pickles?
I bought you a gift.
Yo, what's up?
Booger.
A jar of poop?
Pickles?
I can't hear you. Are you speaking? Those are. It's got to turn to poop eventually.
Value is important, but weight is even more important because the heavier something is, and the more it drains your stamina and hurts your regen. Which, in a game about sprinting away from things that want you dead, is important to keep an eye on.
You can close doors on them, right? They can't open doors? Oh, they can't open doors! Oh my god! Dipshit, dumbass spider can't even open a goofy odd doors, opens door.
Oh god, the spider has opposable thumbs. The 5 basic movements you'll make while scrapping I like to call Spidey or Dipsy. Dancing, interacting, pointing.
Loaf, I saw a monster out there.
Scanning, which is super important for spotting loot and bad guys, so spam that shit. And why? Yapping. I think it goes without saying that yapping is mandatory if you hope to survive.
Aren't preachers like professional yappers?
I mean,
everyone go up to the local preacher, tell them he's doing a lot.
Dog changed the
Yapping.
Most crap is one-handed, so to speak, because it doesn't restrict your character's action at all.
This is a little horrifying, but it's kind of soothing at the same time.
Other crap is two-handed, which means you can't access your inventory, climb ladders, or pick up anything else, with a perfect example being...
Oh, yes. Yo, scream it as loud as you can. I want to hear it as loud as you can. Soda! Yo, you actually had...
Soda!
There's all kinds of quirkiness when it comes to
Autistic.
scrap, and the apparatus is a prime example. This mini nuclear reactor is what powers the entire facility you're looting, so once you take it, all the electricity is gone, which means no more lights and an immediate spike in radiation levels.
I love grabbing each thing because it makes everybody's day worse.
Yeah, pretty big fan. I grab this thing and I ruin everybody's day. Me grabbing my car keys after 12 Coors Lights.
Man, I wish this beer would stop telling me to drive.
Which one of you fucks pulled the battery? Dude, I was by myself. I was by myself picking shit up, and I was like, you know what? At least I can see where I'm going and make my way back. And then all the fucking lights turned off.
Yeah, that's crazy. Anyway.
You can call me an idiot for using it as the world's largest, heaviest, most expensive flashlight, but my goals are beyond your understanding.
Hey, hold up. Hey, I got a big flashlight for the crew. Get out of the way. Big flashlight coming through. Big flashlight boy on the move.
Big, expensive flashlight.
Plenty of scrap has use beyond simply turning into credits to meet quota, like keys that unlock doors.
I got a key for moments like this.
Hi.
Oh, did absolutely fucking nothing. Never mind. Or my personal favorite, stop signs, so I can beat the shit out of bugs using stolen government infrastructure.
I wish an anomaly would right now.
No matter the junk you collect, it is completely worthless unless you cash it out for credits to meet quota, which is where the terminal comes in. Terminal is the second most important word in this game next to quota, because if you don't learn it, you're in trouble. Your ship's landing and takeoff is controlled by a lever on the dash, but selecting where you want to go is the terminal's business. Typing moons will tell you which are available to loot and how the weather is, and trust me, weather in this game can be a real kick in the dick. Once you've made up your mind, you're typing route, then where you want to go, like the company building, so you can cash out your scrap. Much like all things in Lethal Company, the HQ is also trying to kill you. Turning in your scrap to the window and ringing a bell will turn meaningless crap into cold hard credits, but don't stand too close once the slot opens or you will also be collected.
Oh god! I flew too close to the sun.
Assuming you survive the tentacle monster, it's time for payday.
I
mean, paycheck. The size of this paycheck not only depends on what scrap you delivered, but when you delivered it. On day 0, when quota is due, they'll pay you 100% full price for your items, but any day earlier than that, and you only get a fraction of their value, sometimes 30 cents on the dollar. This is a bunch of math I don't care about. Sell whatever you want on any day you want, as long as you meet that almighty number called quota. Assuming you did that, holy shit, we can finally start having fun. Now that you're no longer a little piss baby and you understand quota, let's get down to serious business.
1, 2,
But
3,
newfound
4.
credits can
4
be found in
left.
options, a big one being
4
moons.
left.
Some moons are distant, like the infamous Titan, that cost money if you want to land on. They are both high risk and high reward, because even though they cost credits, these moons have the best crap and the scariest monsters defending that crap.
Hey, what's up, bitch?
Oh god, Freddy Fazbear.
What's up,
Freddy
bitch?
Fazbear. Freddy Fazbear.
Back up! Back up, bro. Your movie was trash.
I saw 4 people lined up. Oh my god!
Come on.
How much money did we pay to travel to this planet? The other major option for burning credits? Items. And I know you're gonna ask me, so let me tell you in advance that you cannot buy beans.
Hey, you want some beans?
Beans? Beans.
What kind of beans?
What the fuck?
What the fuck? What? What? Where'd my dogs go?
I mean, you can download a mod if you really need beans. I think you've noticed by now, people love modding this shit. Dog, I think I downloaded the wrong video company. And who needs beans when you got Swouse? My brand new limited time merch that took me 2 years to get right. And I'll tell you why. You see, I'm one of those perpetually cold MFs that's always shivering his ass off, and that makes Carhartt hoodies my very best friend. But the problem with wearing Carhartt is that it makes me feel like a fraud.
You got soft hands. You got soft hands.
If you're wearing a Carhartt hoodie and it's clean, you are not a motherfucker that should be wearing a Carhartt hoodie.
I do this shit for a living.
I'm not forklift certified, and I've never stepped foot on a construction site, so I've got no business wearing the uniform of a guy that works 37 hours a day.
85 hours a motherfucking day.
So to break free of this Carhartt prison, I tried every hoodie you can imagine, from streetwear to activewear, over the past 2 years, and I found the final form of hoodie. I didn't like cotton hoodies because they stretch out, lose shape, and gather those beads of lint.
What is this
I didn't like
advertisement?
polyester hoodies because sitting in synthetic fabric workout gear all day made me feel like a piece of shit. My Swouse hoodie is the perfect blend of primarily cotton with a touch of polyester, so it's comfortable, never beads lint, never loses shape, and always looks fit check fresh as the day you bought it. Fresh. The design is inspired by my favorite part of every day, which is the time I spend doing dumb shit with my mocap suit and the Source engine, tossing shit, breaking shit, hitting myself in the head with a brick. All the things that make you want to
I
say
make
Swouse.
tails.
My cousin Tyler did such a great job with the designs that we decided to make t-shirts and mouse pads too. I mean, Swouse pads. I am so committed to the quality of this merch that the first 1,000 of you to order the entire 3-item set at the link below will receive a handwritten thank you
Mateo
note
looks
from
like
my
a
own
hot
goddamn
dog.
fingers.
Oh,
I'm gonna
no.
break my hands doing this. You've got 2 weeks from today to place an order with items arriving at your door in about 3 to 4 months. I know that's a little bit of a wait, but it makes sure that everybody who wants a hoodie can get a hoodie. Unlike those limited merch drops that sell out immediately and only a handful of people get the item. That's so fucking stupid. I stand by the quality of my products. You can cancel or refund at any time. I will give you your money back. And I am begging you to place an order at the link below because this shit is too good to miss out on. Use code BADGER for 10% off, and thank you for hearing me out. Moving on from Swouse to more serious items, we gotta talk about flashlights, because in Lethal Company, you live and die by the flashlight. Who put a flashlight in the cabinet with 1% battery? I'm gonna crack your fucking skull open. If you don't have a flashlight to spot mines, turrets, and monsters lurking in the dark, ready to nay-nay your ass into an early grave, you are destined for a life of pain.
There's a mine in here somewhere.
Wow, there's also this turret.
You died because no flashlight, no bread alert. These things are so critical that if you fall to your death, your teammates will have one thing to say. Damn, I really missed that flashlight.
What? Wait.
There's a dipshit version and a pro version that is brighter, larger, and has double the battery, and if you forget to recharge it, I'm feeding your ass to a spider. All items, including flashlights, are bought via the terminal and delivered to you with a jingle that is nearly impossible to miss. Apart from flashlights, everybody's got a tier list of what's good and what's bad, and the walkie-talkie is definitely divisive. It allows you to communicate with anybody else anywhere on the map that is also holding a walkie-talkie, but my friends are so loud that I just can't use it. Will all of you shut the fuck up? Items can range from useless novelties that provide zero utility.
Hey, can you buy that candlelit dinner,
Who
please?
the fuck bought a toilet? To items with situational utility like performance enhancing medicine to avoid losing all my ad revenue on this video, even though it's apparently a safe and legal combo of amphetamines and helium. Oh, I gotta hit it? I'm putting flashbangs in this same situational / possibly useless category. Even though it's funny to flashbang something with 8 eyes because it theoretically hits them 4 times as hard, my homies never deployed correctly on any monster, spiders included.
He's got a flashbang.
To your right, to your right.
There's a mine as well.
Oh.
Mop. Mop.
I see. Maybe it worked.
I think it died. You killed it, dog. It's dead. I'm walking past this one. The only item more likely to betray your teammates than a flashbang is a ladder, because no matter how sturdy it is only as safe as the guy that's holding it.
Just fucking drop it all.
He's gonna die. Just the fact.
Yeah, not so funny now, are you?
You want something truly useful? Buy a teleporter, which lets you yoink any player you are currently spectating back to the ship, dead or alive.
Just look over Bada's shoulder.
This is how are you doing this? Very important to do that, because the company deducts a big chunk of credits for every crewmate you leave behind, but as long as you collect the corpse, you avoid the tax. Okay, I still don't. Okay, who's getting excited? Stop. There's even an inverse teleporter, which beams you from the ship into a random part of the facility, as scary as that sounds.
Press the yellow button.
Okay.
All right, let's get in there.
We gotta go.
Go to the same place. Lock it.
That is horrifying that all of them are now gone. The only major downside here is that items do not travel with you, so it's best to use it for body retrieval or getting a trapped buddy out of a jam.
Hey, teleport me out.
I'll go back to the ship.
I need to be teleported.
Okay, don't move. I'm not teleporting his dumbass. Wasting resources. I'm looting other sections of the map. Ooh, engine. No way! I gotta see what happened. Yo, Loaf, are you good? Loaf, can you hear me? Is there a Loaf still alive in here? That answers my question. I think I'm done here. And with that, it's time to move on from items to cooperation, because if you understand teamwork, it'll open a lot of doors for you.
This door? Yeah, open it.
No, the other one that says lock, dipshit. It goes without saying that being friendly and cooperative leads to better outcomes in Lethal Company, but if you ask me, being hostile and chaotic is a whole lot funnier.
Oh, you know what? I think he's a piece of shit, but we won't bring that up.
But if you hope to meet quota, especially the larger quotas, you'll need to trust and cooperate with your teammates. Gary put it there. He said it won't go off. I don't think it's gonna go off, so I think.
Well, yeah, I don't think so.
I thought you said this was tech. I thought you said it was tech. Making tough choices is a fundamental part of what makes Lethal Company so addicting, and I'll illustrate this with a door. Let's say you've got a teammate being chased by a monster rushing towards the ship, and you've got two choices. Close the door and let your teammate die, but keep yourself and all your other teammates safe from the monster. Close it on, Digi. Oh yeah, baby! Yeah! Or alternatively, open the door for your sprinting teammate to potentially save his life, but run the risk of the monster getting inside and killing all of you.
Open up, open up, open up, open up, open up.
I'm coming. Okay. No, why did you bring the bees in? Fuckbit! This is a major reason why Lethal Company is incredible, because weighing risks and constantly making life or death decisions for both you and your teammates is always exciting. Oh, here they come. Here they come.
Close the door.
Better hurry up. Oh, he left him behind. He left Gary behind. Oh, no. I think it's beneficial to have some pessimists on the team that may be a little negative, but also keep your feet on the ground with pragmatic decision making, especially with credit spending.
Did you spend $500 fucking dollars?
But you can't forget to balance out these negative players with hopeful optimists that bring enough energy and levity to keep the whole team going.
I'm ready to work for minimum wage.
The teamwork dynamic radically changes if you have the big lobby mod enabled, which is extremely popular and changes the team from a max of 4 players to 40 players. And the more players you have, the less teamwork is important. If you have a lobby exceeding 10 players, it's gonna feel like you picked up an entire Menards worth of contractors on the way to that moon.
Smoking on the Menards 2x4 bag.
Bro, Menards 2x4s aren't even 2x4s anymore. They're 1.5 by 3.5s. I'm fucking idiot.
85 hours a motherfucking day. I do this shit for a living. You got soft hands. 85 hours a motherfucker. Brother, you got that car hard on. You ain't working, man.
How about you slap my ass and call me Susan and take my guns, brother?
Now that I'm thinking about it, everything changes when you go beyond the default 4 players. A horror game isn't much of a horror game when you outnumber the monsters and all you can hear is chatter about George W. Bush.
I got a picture of George W. Bush that I kissed him. I live for God, why is it so? Yo, what were you saying about George Bush earlier before you cut off?
I was talking about my morning ritual. Every morning, I wake up, I salute the flag, I take a shit, get out of bed, and then I kiss a photo of George Bush every morning. Herschel Walker and W.
It's about time we got to the monsters
It's
anyway.
his
Because
Jesus
each one
Christ.
being unique adds yet another layer of
So that's fun.
complexity.
That's
and quite
okay, I
frankly,
guess.
fun, if you ask me. Wait, somebody's on the. Wait a minute. When you land on a moon, the day starts at 8:02 a.m. and it's imperative that you move as fast as possible.
Go, 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 725 an hour, let's go. If you ain't first, you're last. Get up that ladder, boy.
Because the ship will automatically leave you behind at midnight, and as the day goes on, more and more monsters will spawn.
Let's go.
Oh, I
You
didn't
might think
know
you're built
that.
different after easy looting in the early game, but once the sun goes down, your likelihood of getting G-checked by a monster goes way up.
Damn, I'm good.
Out of there.
I'm built different, man. I'm built different. That's right. I made it. I'm built distinctly, bro. Damn. That's crazy.
The first monster to keep in mind, gravity. I'm willing to bet that gravity kills more interns than any other monster, and the number of times I get accused of pushing people is ridiculous.
Oh shit, no.
I didn't push him. I mean, I guided him, but I didn't push him.
Kinda sussy, I'm gonna be real.
Okay, fine, fuckface. Spell suspicious. You cannot spell suspicious.
Alright. You go first. E.
E.
Turrets are self-explanatory, but mines have a little quirk. By this point, you've already seen so many deaths to landmines that they just aren't funny anymore. But what's interesting about them is that they don't detonate until you step off of them. You have to be on it. No, you don't have to be on it. So if you ever accidentally trigger one, you can save lives by getting your teammates out of the blast radius before you step off. Some monsters you can negotiate with, like hoarding bugs, that will completely leave you alone if you
I
drop
died
them
to
loot. Hey,
you.
come here, fuckface.
To a
There you
eating
go.
bug once.
No. There. Get out of here. He's excited. That was a good trade. It truly does not matter what that loot is. Bada literally gave one a gun, and it immediately left him alone. I'm out of bullets. Oh, let him take a shotgun. Negotiate. Okay, get out. Get out. But don't go thinking that every monster can be negotiated with, because if you try to pull that shit with Bracken, he may not be so amused. I'm gonna give him some Coca-Cola and we'll negotiate. Oh my God. Bracken is the most beloved entity in the game that prefers red to blue and is often modded to become Freddy Fazbear. Alright, if you call him Freddy Rizbear again, I'm gonna ban you, Jamesy.
Oh my God, he's right there.
Hey, what's up, my boy?
Bro, I summoned him. That was me. Wait, is he that Nene?
He'll snap your neck and drag your body back to his trap house if you get too close or stare too long, but if you only glance at him, he'll just leave. Oh, okay. I see that I'm not alone anymore. Did Bracken come back? Okay, he came back. He shattered short. Senor Bracken, come out to play. No. Oh my God! Some monster interactions are just horseshit. Like the speed that a thumper can wave dash is nothing short of a death sentence. What is that speed? I feel like Gary would be so hyped about his movement. And don't even get me started on the spooky little girl. The math required to understand her behavior could probably stump Richard Finder.
Oh, girl, what this?
Alright, so should I be scared or not? She's just breathing. She ran away because she's a scared little coward. See you later, chicken shit, dumbass child. But for the most part, each monster has flaws for you to exploit. If you don't want to get eaten by a giant, make sure he doesn't see you.
Oh, there's another one!
Giant.
Oh, God!
If you don't want to get eeten by a dog, make sure he doesn't hear you. Chad, I'm gonna say it super quietly. What the dog doing? Oh God. Oh, look at me, I proc on sound. Stupid ass dog. The more unique the monster's flaw, the more unique the interaction, and I think Coilhead takes the cake for me. No, I could not get out. Coilheads are invincible, but can only move when you aren't looking at them. So making sure one of your teammates is always making eye contact is crucial.
Hold E and look quick.
desperation to bring that up again is the best way to deal with them. But if you have a teammate nearby and you just don't tell them, that's also a solution. Well, can you close doors on them?
Oh, on the block? No, they open doors. All things can open doors. Oh, shit.
Do not go in there. Do not go in there. Do not go in there. Go back to the ship.
All right.
So what happened? You all
were
died.
right. So, you want to talk about that?
I do not. Counterintuitively, he can be even more dangerous with a large group because everybody else assumes that somebody else will maintain the eye contact.
Badger this way. Badger this way.
You a whole bitch. Oh, wait.
The other way. Fire escape.
Holy shit. Oh my god. I got a single frame of that scream. If you prefer fight to flight, bashing monsters to death with shovels or stop signs is an option in Lethal Company.
What the fuck
Strategy
was
is
this
much more
sound?
suited to a modded lobby with 10 guys running around than a default lobby with 4. Get his ass, fellas. Nice. This game was clearly designed as a run away from the Monsters game, not a Space Hulk the Monsters run away from me game.
He is cooked. I ain't gonna gobble him.
Tom and Jerry death scream. Tom and Jerry looking ass death.
Alright, fuck it. I'm just gonna jump into the ocean. You guys be good. I'll see y'all later.
Plenty of monsters are invincible. Most can out DPS you, and it always feels better to find the creative solution to the bad guy instead of trying to solve every problem with a stop sign. Will he take a whole ass large axle? I want to see him take
anything.
All right, you ready? Okay, back up.
Yippee!
Oh, he took the whole ass large axle. He seemed pretty happy about it. And you've already seen in this video that the scariest monsters are often your own teammates. It's also common to have a commander, so to speak, who is somebody that stays behind on the ship to monitor the radar, open secure doors, teleport players, and communicate on the radio. They're essentially the one driving the boat, having both great power and great responsibility.
Let me drive the boat.
His ass has been drinking. Do not give him the keys. Do not give him the keys. Do not give him the keys. Do not give him the keys.
The wheel.
Let's go.
Because if they ever decide to take off early, it means a premature death for anybody not on the ship. And I have never seen a group of interns so angry.
For what reason? We're beating Digi with we are aligning Digi up and beating him with a brick. He gonna beat you with a brick.
Get his ass.
He gonna beat you with a brick.
Get his ass.
Digi, you are such a stupid moron. Do you know how much loot we had?
We had thousands.
Digi, we're gonna beat you to death with hammers. I hope you know that. I say that we revoke Digi's oxygen privileges. I think that those need to go away.
Yes.
Give me them 10
bullets, Digi.
I don't feel respected here.
Why do I need reverb? Wait, where did you go? You can't leave the disrespectful space. Final question I'm sure you're asking, is Lethal Company scary? And the answer entirely depends on settings. If you are in the big lobby mod like me and constantly have teammates around saying things like this,
Salt, pepper, ketchup, a little bit of poop. The usual.
no, it's not scary. If you jack up your brightness like I see a ton of people do, no, it's not a scary game. But if you're playing default 4-player regular vanilla, I think it shows how brilliant and scary, or at the very least unsettling, the game is. I never thought I'd unironically say this word, but the reason why is immersion. I know Skulker is about to bully me and tell me I smell like beans for saying that word, but hear me out.
You're playing the KV2, you smell like fucking beans, dog.
Unlike a Discord call, which feels flat and 2D, the proximity voice chat in this game makes it feel 3D with both distance and direction.
Oh, you're above me. You're up there. That was fucking haunting.
For lack of a better word, you are immersed in this world with 3D surround sound that temporarily tricks you into feeling like you are in a place talking to other people.
I think I got my swagger back. What's up, fella?
The moment I realized this was brilliant was the moment it was taken away from me. I was deep in the facility down a labyrinth of hallways and my flashlight was almost dead.
Feel like it's getting kind of late, fellas, and I'm running out of battery.
I called out for help from my teammates, but I was met with silence, so I tried the radio instead.
Let's try this. Can anybody help me get out of the facility? I'm just totally lost.
Schizo.
Hello? I have never felt so completely alone in my entire life. You get so comfortable saying things out loud and hearing things said back in a 3D space that when you say something and don't hear anything back, it is haunting. Your flashlight is dead, the night is getting darker, and the only noises you can hear are monsters approaching you from all angles.
Okay, I'm hearing big movement. Honestly, at this point, he didn't see me. No, you didn't see me. You didn't see me.
Just leave the facility, Badger. What do you think I'm trying to do? I can't find my way out.
Oh, okay. Okay. That was such a labyrinth. There was no way that I was finding my way out.
That is how Lethal Company can be scary and what makes it so brilliant. When you are around others, the game really makes you feel like you're around others.
I retweet a lot of shit, bro. Like, I don't keep up. I just hit retweet and I keep scrolling.
When you are by yourself, the game really makes you feel like you are by yourself. We are talking 100% forever alone. You are a dead man walking that they will never find. I am blown away that this game was made by one guy, and you won't understand the true extent of his goofy creativity until you've played it for yourself.
Press B on things and just I eat it and it disappears.
Don't eat the toilet either. That's just gross.
No.
I'm excited to see how Lethal Company evolves in the future, because since I started making this video, there's been a major update and a mountain of mods added to this game.
We're getting that Pirate Bay alien shish kebab 47 money. I'm moving different.
Oh my god, dude. The introduction of the double barrel shotgun from this nutcracker monster has completely changed the game. This one item suddenly makes every crewmate more dangerous than a police officer hearing a falling acorn.
He's got a gun! He's got a gun! He's got a gun! Yeah, we got him!
Damn. I don't know why, but having this thing around crewmates is like a PDF around boomers. People are gonna die. I guarantee it.
That's actually the key to just conquering boomers. Ask them to sign a PDF digitally. They just die.
I asked a boomer to sign a PDF for me and he pulled out an electron microscope.
Adding a gun to the game may not sound like a big shift, but it has the ability to transform trustworthy crewmates into homicidal maniacs.
Everyone's got a salute gun. You gotta shell it.
07. What's even funnier is that there's a new item called the dramatic mask that is specifically designed for this purpose of turning teammates evil. As in, if you hold it up to your face, you can literally turn into a monster that attacks your teammates like a zombie. And even that thing is far less dangerous than a teammate with a shotgun in his hands.
I got 5 copies of you.
In the hands of a reasonable teammate, the outcomes are incredibly positive because the ability to kill a monster in a split second will get you out of a jam and save lives. But putting the power of God in the hands of an unreasonable teammate, the outcomes may not be so positive.
You know what? I don't even care. I eat bullets. I don't give a fuck. Let me have it.
I just had to G-check him on that, dog. I had to. This shotgun just talks to me sometimes. You can't blame it on me.
Please, give me the shotgun. I'm normal. I can be trusted with a double-barrel shotgun when my teammates are unarmed.
Little girl coming after me. I'm fucked.
I have a gun. Little girls aren't good against guns.
No. Only I can see her, and when she reaches me, my head is full.
I just wanted to tell him that I would solve his problem so badly.
There's even a safety mechanic on this thing, because when it's loaded with the safety off, it can randomly fire, and not all of us agreed on safety rules.
What happened down here?
So my safety was on, and I didn't manage to shoot, but thankfully Mickey saved me.
Hey, you can just never turn the safety on. That solves your problem.
Safety always off.
What? I am a responsible firearm.
If I make it back, I do great.
What just happened?
Sigrid just executed. Sigrid is locked the fuck in. She was not tolerating any tomfoolery, alright? Sigrid is so locked in. Like, how is this possible?
We are reaching levels of locked in we thought previously unattainable.
I was so fucking locked in.
Sigrid, you fucking shot me in the back of the head. If you were any more locked in, it would be considered a prison sentence.
What makes this especially dangerous is that the spread on this bad boy is massive, and it has no problem clapping multiple targets at once.
Yo, come outside real quick.
How did you kill all of us?
Damn, somebody
How
killed
did we
me.
all die from that?
My most recent play session in February taught me that mods can definitely enhance or weaken the experience depending on your perspective. Like, cosmetics and emotes are just fine.
What is gorilla? Oh, that's
What the gorilla?
What do you think?
Me when I see my ops.
But if you turn on the wrong mod like Brutal Company, it ruins everything.
Pasta doesn't know that there's gonna be a mine under his feet in 3, 2, 1, and.
Yo, he got this single frame execution. It may be funny for a round or two, and it may make Twitch chat laugh, but that's only because you've made the game impossible.
Oh my god, Chad. That's probably the scariest thing that has ever happened to me in my life.
Don't get me wrong, I'm strongly in favor of pushing the bounds of what's possible in a game and limit testing to the ends of the earth.
We must limit test.
Ah.
But there comes a point where too much is too much. Like if you find yourself in a game where you can always hear other people talking no matter your position on the map, the big lobby mod has gone too far.
Bitch, we can hear y'all through the bookcase.
Yeah, we can. As soon as I think Gary's too far away to be heard, I just hear, huh? Like,
Instead of one lobby of 20, how about 2 games of 10, 4 games of 5, 5 games of 4? You do the math. I think I've made my point on the mods. If you really want to squeeze the fun out of this game, less is more.
this is just Gary. I don't care what you tell me. This is Gary.
Wrapping on up here, I can't thank those of you on Twitch enough for helping me make this video. From the subs to the bits to the jokes.
I used my Neuralink to exterminate every Kia Soul owner in existence.
Why do you hate the Kia Soul so much? That makes no sense. Damn, I don't want Chad to get a Neuralink. If Chad ever gets a hold of a Neuralink, it's over. Kia Souls are built like Kingpin from Spider-Verse.
I stream 2 hours a day, 6 days a week now, and having thousands of you screaming at me about my busted ass hairline really is a dream come true. Do not forget about the Swouse merch at the link below. It's only available for the next 14 days, and it's a great way to support these videos while also making sure you pass the fit check. Fresh. And a final shout out to Zeekers for reminding me what kind of power an individual has in 2024. The fact that Lethal Company was made by a single person blows my mind, and I've never spent a better $10 in my entire life.
I'm gonna die.
If I had 2 bullets and I had Hitler, Stalin, and Digi in front of me, I'd shoot Digi twice.
If the earth is flat, why is my life constantly going downhill? That's a jetpack.
What is this hatch actually for?
Alright, there he goes.
What the hell? Why did it do that? Why did it do that? Why did it do that? I read the directions on the jetpack. It said, we fly high, no lie. And that's about it, dog. The final thing I have to say is thank you for watching all the way to the end of my video. I really hope it defied your expectations. Thank you for hearing me out on the merch, and I am so excited to see what the next video looks like. All you Twitch MFs already know it's Helldivers 2, but I am so excited to start that video, it's not even funny. Once again, thank you so much. You guys give me the greatest job in the whole wide world, and I will catch you in the next video. I just wanted to make a weird noise just to like really mark the end of the video, and I guess that works.
Wait lang. 2 more. 2 emotes and I'm done.
Pagod at hair fall? Baka iron deficiency anemia yan. Magsanggobion, may iron.
Ads.
Number 1.
No.
School? Prison school. Yes, the pinnacle of absurd comedy, watching characters get into the wackiest of situations with an absolutely amazing art style and a cherry of raunchiness on top. It's Prison School, the manga created by Akira Hiramoto, later adapted into an anime that helped it grow into one of the most popular ecchi comedy series around. Now that's all turned into bitter resentment, where people won't even read anything else by the creator, feeling betrayed by how the manga ended. So let's talk about it. Well, firstly, oh boy, is this dude a recluse or what? It's kind of crazy given how popular Prison School was, but it's so hard finding anything about the creator. I mean, I think that's how he looks like, but then this is from a Twitter account with no interactions. The dude likes his privacy. And who exactly is Hiramoto? Well, he's a mangaka that made comedy gag manga for a while, with names I won't even dare pronounce, but you can sort of see the current style shine through a little, with how detailed he drew the faces, which is what his art is mostly known for. Now, after this, he made the manga Me and the Devil Blues, which is so much different than his other works, about a blues musician who sells his soul to the devil to become a legend. It is nothing like Prison School and is way more serious than the majority of the published manga he made, which mostly were heavy raunchy comedies. Keep it in mind, I'll get back to this in a bit. Now then, after another raunchy manga, he made Prison School, which, to describe its name, is all about how 5 boys get admitted to an all-girls high school for the first time, and due to some wacky shenanigans, the underground school council, they're like the Secret Service school council, anyway, they capture and sentence them to serve out time in the school's actual prison. Now, as you can probably tell, the manga was absurd, setting up so many situations that bring out the comedy of the boys' plight to break free from prison, mixed in with an amazingly detailed art style. It sort of reminds me a bit of the 90s anime mixed in with modern style. You won't see these faces in current comedy anime. Now, during the manga's run around 2014, this is where I jumped in, after seeing so many of the reaction images pop up online, and I loved it instantly. I just couldn't believe the absolute craziness of some of the arcs the manga went with. Hiramoto would set up the situations by planting seeds of jokes and chapters way back, and using them as a crux in the big climax twist of an arc, and he would do this numerous times. Constant bait and switches. It was such a consistently unique style of comedy, where anything he added, you knew it would pay off in a joke down the line. Plus, with the actual art style, his coloring emphasizing the shadows on faces, making them stand out. Most people would shy away from drawing characters' faces this close, or poses this JoJo-like, but not him. He even had this thing I noticed when he was setting up for the big arc's climax. He would bait the reader with the next panel, leading to some other plot happening elsewhere, and constantly shift back and forth between the two. And a lot of people loved it, with the manga raking in so many fans with its raunchy situations. And of course, when you get popular, the anime gods open the gates to give you an anime adaptation. But it was by JC Staff. Now, despite all the memes about how JC Staff aren't the greatest with anime adaptations most of the time, I actually think they did a really good job. Not great, as how I don't see anyone could mimic the art style consistently, but the anime came out and surprised many people with its work, like scenes with interesting camera angles or stop-motion Lego to show off the Prison Break ideas. The anime did the best it could and captured a lot of the absurdity from the manga, meaning it was a great way for fans to jump into Prison School. The voice acting was top-notch too, and it was kind of amusing from the manga. The men who created the Prison School anime that they actually tricked the voice actor for Kyoshi into the role. Now, even more absurd was that also in 2015, yes, you had an anime, but then you have a live-action show? They were really milking this hard, eh? Yes, live-action Prison School. Yes, it sucked like you would think. I mean, what do you expect when the manga and the anime look like this? Putting real-world actors into the situation, it naturally won't look the best, but regardless, this was another way to get people into the manga, and it worked with the live-action being fairly popular. Now then, around this time of mid-late 2015 is when I would say the series was reaching its peak. The anime live action were bringing in thousands of fans, and the manga itself was getting into the most absurd situations. This meant that a ton of people started reading the manga. Since the anime kinda ended pretty nicely with the prison break and had a small teaser for season 2, hyping fans to read ahead with the source material, although yeah, we're not gonna get a season 2 as you'll see, where it introduced this character Kate, the head of the actual student council, who sends the underground trio into prison for their hand in tricking the boys into punishment. And now this is where the majority of the manga's plot takes place. Oh no, not just the intro prison break. The dudes are now out, but now it explores a lot of the side characters' backstories, often in good and bad ways. And it doesn't just focus on the protagonist Kiyoshi. Now, a lot of people didn't like this that much, but me, I enjoyed it because it made me care more for the characters, giving them more things to lose in absurd scenarios. And the arcs themselves were still absolutely hilarious. I always liked this about Prison School because unlike most modern comedy, which can often do the same style of joke non-stop, repeating the same thing every episode, you do not know what to expect with this series. There was always something new, and that was Hiramoto's strength in comedy storytelling. Plus, one thing I love about this over the other comedy series is how interesting the main characters are. Kiyoshi, I will admit, is cliche in his love for the sweet girl that will do absolutely anything for his bros, and has the most brazen confidence when he needs it. His bros are just so uniquely hilarious too, at least during the first few arcs of the manga. Andre himself turns into something else entirely by the end. From a quiet dude to a masochist, to an economics major, to a broken man, to a beast man. Yes, he's literally the size of a house now. Including the female characters, I just really love the cast, not just from the art, but how unique they feel to most comedy series. And the manga now is taking time to flesh out most of them, while taking so many risks with their development. I don't feel other series do it that often, but Prison School did, and it did pay off most of the time. Asterix, yes, I will talk about the ending, wait for it, okay buddy. I honestly don't think we'll ever get something like Prison School ever again, because only he could set up these jokes in this way.
Hello,
The panel
Supuna.
and the
Kamusta
direction your eyes
you?
will take when
Yeah,
he wants
yeah,
you
yeah.
to see what he wants you to see. Plus, I forgot to even mention how great he is at
Ay,
drawing 3D objects,
isa na lang yung
although I think he
gagawin
might
ko.
have had a computer to help
Which is
some of
nice,
it,
yes.
But you can't deny how talented the man is. Prison School was cementing itself as one of the greatest comedy mangas out there. But, like Kiyoshi's fans, the praise came crashing down. Because as the anime ended, with people rushing to the manga while it came out, discussing it with others, something strange started to occur. The series began to flounder just a little bit, starting around here when the chairman going out into the wilderness. The trio of girls had gotten out of prison, but now it felt like Hiramoto didn't know what situation to put the characters into next, leading to one of the most drawn out arcs I've ever seen in any medium. Yes, even worse than Goku's episode-long screams, it was the Calvary arc, where the two councils were at war with each other, spanning numerous chapters, nothing really changing, feeling like the plot just ground to a halt to extend the manga's lifespan. The characters would just stand there, talking, and then do something, but that something fails, then back to talking and talking. Now this wasn't all that bad when I reread it for this video. I actually found binging it helped me get through it fairly quickly, but you have to understand, the amount of people that were reading this when it came out chapter by chapter, you couldn't binge read it, you had to wait for that new chapter, and only then to see how drawn out it was getting. Frustration wouldn't even begin to describe it. People were getting impatient. It felt like the series was stagnating, like Hiramoto was struggling to think of what big situation to take the series next. It was draining for most readers, and naturally the manga began to lose viewership, but it still had a big enough following, sticking through all of that, up until the ending, which then broke the community and pitched everyone against the creator, and for that, I'll have to mention spoilers for the ending, so just a warning, but pretty much, okay. So Kiyoshi had a crush on Chiyo, the kind girl, for the majority of the manga, but had spent more time getting into wacky situations with the crazy girl, Hana, and she of course is really into him, and honestly their chemistry together was way more involved than anything he did with Chiyo. This of course meant the fan base really wanted them together, so you had Team Hana and Team Chiyo. Well then, before the Calvary arc, there was a situation that led Hana and Kiyoshi to swapping underwear accidentally.
What
yes,
the fuck?
accidentally. Then after the Calvary arc, in a long build-up with plots about love triangles with the other characters, and the underground president leaving school to study abroad, it finally boils down to Kiyoshi, Hana, and Chiyo meeting in the rain on Chiyo's birthday. And Kiyoshi confesses his love to her, but this annoys Hana and she explodes, revealing every dirty thing the both of them accidentally did. And despite all this, Chiyo doesn't care and agrees to go out with him. But bringing back to that underwear thing, Hana brings that up and Kiyoshi tells Chiyo he threw it out and it's all in the past. But then Hana, in one final act, drops his pants to show to Chiyo that even though it was a long time ago, he is still wearing her underwear. Kiyoshi is broken, knowing his crush hates him, and the manga literally cuts to the final 2 pages where Chiyo has taken over his sister's role as the new underground president of the school, utterly broken and despising men. And that's how the whole series ended. Yeah, wow. The series that had built up all these characters and arcs, feeling like this was all building to another wacky arc, just ends so abruptly. And no confirmation of what happens to Hana and Kiyoshi, and people were mad, furious. I've never seen this amount of rage at a manga's ending before. Now, like I mentioned earlier, Hiramoto is very reclusive, so I couldn't really find any interviews, but the main theory is that he hated working on Prison School and wanted to work on Devil Blues, which I guess sold less than Prison School, and they say he he only made this just as a screw you to everyone, which is kinda amusing given how popular Prison School got. But the theory was that Devil Blues was something he cared more about. And now while I can't find any proof on this, it is weird, because Hiromoto has made numerous other raunchy manga, so I can't see why he would focus on a more serious one. Maybe he resented how popular Prison School had gotten, because it was really big everywhere. And it was compounded by the fact that fans had to sit through 50 or so chapters of nothing really happening, expecting something better on the other side, but only got a sudden and abrupt ending. And for the argument of Prison School sales declining, well yeah, it was dropping a little, but that was because the anime had long ended, meaning that jump from around the time of the anime had slowly waned. So all those new sales were dying down, but it was still selling fairly well in Japan, so I can't imagine sales being a reason for the ending. And then the kicker, because shortly after the ending, he announced a new manga, Raw Hero, and this angered
Oh
fans
yeah,
even
I
more,
read Raw
because to them,
Hero.
it seemed like he dumped Prison School to go
It's
start
nice.
something else. And even with
I
all the
read it
craziness,
in
yes,
one
I
sitting.
was kind of
I
mad
love
at the
it.
ending as well, and never bothered to check out the new manga. And that was that. Prison School's reputation in tatters, no one knowing why he did it. Where's the sauce? And now a new manga starting up, and people just did not care, which is kind of amusing because I think Raw Hero is actually good. Yes, for the video I caught up to the manga and actually really enjoyed most of it. It's about a dude who has to take care of his two brothers with no parents and struggling to get jobs. One day he sees on a train a dude assaulting someone, and him jumping in to intervene ends up changing his whole fortune in ways you will not expect. I will say one thing first, I feel that this is the best art he's ever done. You can always tell he was improving even from the early Prison School chapters. This felt like perfection of his work, even adding some action to the mix. And of course the intense faces were back and forth, and the story itself involves spies, double agents, superheroes, love triangles. I feel so dumb, seriously, why would you ruin this? And bananas. Yeah. Now, while I praise the manga, I was surprised to learn that it too is ending. Yeah, after 40 chapters, Raw Hero is ending. You can't even make this stuff up. Now, the reason could be two things. He hates it again, or I think low sales. Because from everything I see about this in the comments, people do not want to read anything by Hiromoto after feeling betrayed by Prison School's ending, which is probably why they're cancelling it. And I think that's just sad for the man, because I really think Raw Hero actually had potential to get up there as people's favorites. But now it has ended as abruptly as it began, because most people never gave it that chance. And it's a little disheartening looking into all of this, because Hiromoto's art is one of a kind, and I kind of understand his motive if that theory is true, where the thing you put the most passion into doesn't get as many views as the thing that's, you know, clickbaity. And I mean, the guy is so talented at drawing. There is no other artist who draws faces like he does. And it's just sad not knowing if there's going to be anything else by him, because, you know, he's reclusive, he hasn't said anything. But the way I see it, there are a few options he has. He could make a new IP again and take that risk, or go back to Devil Blues, which will probably validate people's opinions that he cared more about that series. And I mean, it could be an option because it seems to be getting a lot more popular now in hindsight, or even the last option, which could be going back to Prison School and sort of a sequel after story and fixing that ending, making fans happy, giving them what they want. Because with this, then I think people would care about any other work he does after that. And so I kind of hope he does that, because then I want to see people try out his other works, but yeah, that's very unlikely. All in all, Prison School is just one of a kind series. You'll never find a premise like this in any manga, with how the jokes are built up, the way the characters act, how they are drawn and speak, and the way it ended. No other manga I feel comes close to this, and for me personally, Prison School is one of my all-time favorites. It was one of the only manga I jumped in and rode out to the end, just to see what would happen. And yeah, maybe that wasn't a good thing, but it's just a surreal thing seeing how this series got so popular, getting an anime, live-action show, figurines, Western localization, and just to end it so abruptly, only then to move on to something else, which I eventually really liked, and now that's gone too. Only one can hope Hiromoto is able to find the balance
Okay,
of
I'm
doing
done.
something he enjoys, plus giving
Drops
the world more
are
of his absolute
done.
comedy, which I just sorely miss.
Sakto, tapos na rin yung YouTube. Wait, what to watch?
Maybelline York.
Not this one.
New Build-A-Brow.
Not this one.
Too easy
Not
step.
this one. Wait. Yes, it's done. Wait. I need to show it to you guys. Where's my Chrome? Chrome is not here anymore. Ayan. Future diary.
What if you could change the future? A lot of people would take the chance to hop in a time machine and change their lives in some way.
In some way or another.
There's been countless movies about changing time. One of my favorites, Back to the Future, explores the concept of a car being used to travel through time. But a car can't fit in my pocket. Look at this thing, it doesn't even have emoji. That's why the Future Diary uses cell phones. The Future Diary, or Mirai Nikki, started as a manga series back in the wild and dangerous year of 2006, which also happens to be the year that we first met. Don't you remember? It was at that party where you were named Person of the Year by Time. Congrats, by the way. The music was blaring. You leaned into me and said, I want an anime that has time travel, battle royale, and a cyclops. And I said, what the fuck are you smoking and where do I buy some?
I'll go to the CR
Shit
first.
behind a dumpster, I told you about the Future Diary. I told you that it centers around the main characters, Yuki and Yuno, how they use their cell phones as a log of future events, a
I'll
future
leave you guys
diary,
first.
if you will. I also told you how it became an anime in 2011 after its original run ended in 2010. And you asked me, it's 2006, how do you know all this? And I said, Wikipedia, lol. I told you the whole big story about 12 diary holders battling to the death, the fate of the world in their hands. But I was really high and I can't remember any of it. Luckily, I took a bunch of videos on my phone, so I think we can piece the story together from this. All right, let's start with this first one. Oh shit, it's an opening song. The show opens up on a boy in his bed. This is the actual beginning. A boy in the middle of decaying, broken architecture. Some of it almost looks like bones. A pink-haired girl is trying to force him awake. By the boy's side, potassium cyanide and capsules. The girl sounds like she's in denial.
Okay. Haha. Come on. You're scaring me.
The scene fades out inexplicably to the girl with the pink hair in what we can assume is her home. She calls for her mom and dad inside a cage smattered with blood. While she sulks, she turns and her eyes are met by an icy blue gaze. And then we cut back to a boy in bed. His phone vibrating brings us to the next day, and we get to establish some setting. This is Sakurami City, a fictional city that's assumed to be in or near Kanagawa Prefecture in Japan. And this is Yukiteru Amano. A bit of a loner, doesn't talk to anyone, unlike Yuno Gasai, our pink-haired girl a few seats over. She seems responsible, extroverted, and friendly. As their teacher leaves, we get our first glance at Yuki's diary. He explains that lack of athletic ability and pure boredom forced him to find something to fill his time with. Yuki's life is uneventful and appears absent of any real authority. He claims his only friends are imaginary.
Deus. Yukiteru.
Deus Ex Machina, puppet master of the universe, and his assistant, Murmur. Deus's name comes from a plot device as old as Greek theater, meaning God from the machine. It's used to describe when a god or force from outside the story's immediate setting intervenes and saves the day. Think of the sailors from Lord of the Flies. Murmur's name comes from the 19th demon in the Ars Goetia, Duke Murmur, the Earl of Hell. So she's totally not evil. Deus operates from the Causality Cathedral within the Akashic Records. It's suggested that these records exist in a non-physical plane of reality known as the mental plane, which is why Yuki only sees him when he's in his own head. This gives the impression of Deus being imaginary. Deus proposes a diversion to Yuki, the ability to see the future. And Yuki says, "This is the last time I take my fucking medication," and goes to bed. As night falls, we're shown that Sakurami City is far from peaceful, as an unnamed woman gets game-ended in a dark alley. The next morning, Yuki wakes up to a diary that's already filled in. He writes it off at first, but slowly, everything right down to the pop quiz and its answers comes to pass. Yuki asks how a figment of his imagination can exist in the real world, and Deus says,
"I'm just built different, bro."
He informs
I
Yuki that his new
removed it,
diary of
no.
the future, or future diary, roll credits, is a gift from a god, and should something happen to the phone itself, Yuki will be disconnected from the host.
I got tired from being.
Uneasy at first, Yuki eventually settles into his newfound power until strange signs from Yuno and a message foretelling his death
Yeah, wait lang.
send him
I'm
into
going
a
back
panic.
again.
Yuno confronts Yuki after class and chases him all the way to a construction site, but it's no use for Yuki to run. Yuno closes in and
Whoa.
Yuno says, "You really need to floss. Also, that dude that's gonna kill you is here. His name is Third, Takao Hiyama." Clever viewers will note that his last name translates to Fire Mountain or Volcano. That's a nod to Vulcan or Hephaestus, the god of fire and metalwork. Symbolism and mythology run deep in the future diary. And if that's the case, then Juno is going to show up any minute and throw Third off the building for being too ugly. Third was supposed to kill Yuki today, but Yuno foresaw it in her own diary. Her diary keeps track of everything that Yuki does. But why not keep track of something more useful like Bitcoin prices? Yuki and Yuno confront Third on the roof, and Yuki is definitely the kind of kid who plays with an aimbot. With his diary destroyed, the Third fades into oblivion. Yuki asks Deus how there can be other diaries, and Deus says,
"Well, Fortnite is banned in heaven, so I had to make my own."
Deus reveals that there exist a total of 12 diary holders, now 11 in light of Yuki's victory. What he previously called a diversion is actually a grisly battle royale. The competitors stand in a roundtable format as Deus explains the rules of this game. First off, the remaining 11 diary users are to hunt down and eliminate one another until only one remains. Second, your diary allows you to foresee and avoid a dead end, but your future can change just as quickly through your own actions or those of others. And 3, no holes barred. The winner of the game will succeed Deus and become god of the living universe, using technology to bring in a god, a new god, Deus' successor. A real Deus Ex Machina. Holding the
There we
first
go.
kill makes
This
Yuki
is the
an
stuff that I
incredible
finished.
target. And that's
Yippee.
not even taking Yuno into
Drawing
account.
so
Has
easy.
Yuki
I
found
should
his
have
most
done that.
powerful ally?
I should have done
Who
those
even is Yuno
months
anyways?
ago. But yeah, I am done. Yippee! I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna
Yuki wakes
start
up more
playing
troubled than
because
ever.
it's already
Yuno hasn't
mag-11
left
na.
Yuki at all, but Yuki has plenty that he's already
Maybe I'll
struggling
stop there.
with. His life is being
ZZZ
threatened. He has to
will
cope with
be
whether or not he
played
just kills
later on na
someone.
lang.
But that's too much of a moral dilemma, so
Ah.
knock knock, here's a character in a maid dress. This girl comes in asking a lot of questions. Yuki says, "How do you know so much about this show? Have you been reading the wiki?" The girl reveals herself as the 9th, Minane. And she says,
Aray, sakit. Let's stop there for now. Yeah. And let's look. Let's find someone who to raid. Yeah. Okay. Chrome again. Opening. And then we go. Twitter. Hindi, not Twitter. Twitch, yes. Oops. GG stream, guys. Wait, let's find someone who to raid. Someone who is also doing ort. Guinea. What? Yeah, si Guinea na lang. Where is Guinea again? Guinea Gaming. Ah, shit. Ayan. I'm going na, guys. Bye-bye. Today is a productive day. Yes, yes. And then again, raid channel. There you go. Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye.